Rumpole and the Penge Bungalow Murders by John Mortimer, adapted by Richard Stoneman. Starring me, Timothy West, as the elder Horace Rumpole, and Benedict Cumberbatch as the younger Horace Rumpole. Part 1, Old Unhappy Far-Off Things.
So, do you live round here yourself, Peter?
In Penge? You must be joking. I've got a place in Chelsea. It's a flat, not a bungalow.
Oh. This is very nice, Stone. Very cosy.
Martin, it's absolutely ghastly.
Get away! Right now! No! I promise you, I'll kill the first of you that touches me.
The events in that bungalow on that fateful night not only changed the course of my career, but also launched me into the domestic bliss which I've enjoyed for more years than I care to remember. There are still a number of unanswered questions concerning my long and eventful life. How and why did I come to marry Hilda? How and why did I come to defend a young man called Simon Gerald, alone and without a leader? The answers are not unconnected, thanks to the late lamented father of She Who Must Be Obeyed.
We don't lunch without instructing solicitor?
C.H. Whiston, Q.C.,
no.
always reminded me of a lobster snatched from the sea and plunged into boiling water. His face and bald head were of a uniform pink.
We don't shake hands with other members of the bar.
But he was in no way a bad man.
Of course.
In fact, he treated me, during my early years in his chambers, with a sort of remote and distant kindness.
I think that's enough advice from me.
Oh, really? Thank you.
Our head clerk, Albert, will brief you on briefs.
Here we are. It's a Guinness from me, Mr. Rumpole. Most kind of you, I'm sure.
I did my very best to cultivate the friendship of Albert Handyside. I spent time and money I could ill afford in Pomeroy's wine bar, seeing that his glass was continually filled with stout, while I opted for the house red, despite Albert's warning.
It's not exactly a vintage claret. No, it's more your non-vintage Chateau Thames Embankment. That's very good. That's very good. Chateau Thames Embankment. They're very good indeed. Oh.
When I look back on that Rumpole, I can scarcely recognize my former self.
And another one.
Indeed, I'm not at all sure that I would like him, were it not for the fact that he gave me some hints of the Rumpole to come. The war had been over for several years by then. My own war had been unheroic. Just a little time in the RAF ground staff, but for many, the hostilities had taken their toll and left some of them with bitter memories of colleagues and friends lost in the heat of battle.
All clear so far. Hold it there, Galloway. Hope you haven't got it lost again. You do your job, Clara. I'll do mine.
Dennis Gerald, always known as Jerry, and his rear gunner, Charlie Best, flew in bombers together during the war. By chance, they ended up living just a few doors apart. Jerry's wife was killed by a buzz bomb near Oxford Circus in 1945, leaving Jerry to raise their son, Simon, all by himself. It was in number 3 Paxton Street, in the heart of Penge, that Jerry was murdered, and in number 7 that Charlie died, both shot with a Luger pistol taken from the body of a dead German officer.
He's a good dog, never run away before. I can give you a description if you like.
Constable? Constable,
Can I help you, son?
you might want to arrest me. My dad's dead. Someone shot him.
Oh, my God.
But it wasn't me.
Right. It's probably best if you get yourself a lawyer. Do you have one?
I don't think so.
Then I'll fix you up. We've got some good ones in Penge. Barnsley Gough. Have you heard of him?
I doubt many people had heard of Barnsley Gough. I know I hadn't. But it wasn't long before we met, thanks to the machinations of two very different young ladies. Miss Daisy Sampson was a clerk in the firm of Micklethwaite and Nutwell. Blonde, cheerful, uninhibited, she was a girl with a ready smile, slightly protruding front teeth, and a way with fairly basic jokes.
Oh, I'm always going to give you my briefs, Mr. Rumpole.
Which I found, in those far-off years, both provocative and witty. After sharing morning coffees and pub lunches round the Uxbridge Magistrates, Old Street, Bow Street and the Horseferry Road, I decided, in a moment of reckless extravagance, to hire a dinner jacket and invite Daisy to a dance in the Inner Temple Hall.
Oh, that's it. You're doing very well. Ow!
My fault, sorry.
Hey there. That girl's far too pretty for you to be dancing with.
Well, that's as may be, Proudfoot, but Miss Sampson is my partner.
Not now. This is the gentleman's excuse. Eh? Come, Daisy.
All right, Reggie. Rumpole?
I turned to see a fresh-faced and determined-looking woman of my own age finishing an ice cream. I was, as I was so rarely to be in the future, lost for words.
You are Rumpole, aren't you? That's what I heard Reggie Proudfoot just call you.
Yes, I am Rumpole.
I thought so. And you're in Daddy's chambers.
Daddy?
I'm Hilda. Hilda Whiston. Aren't you going to ask me to dance?
It was less a question than a command.
Would you like to dance?
And I found myself obeying her.
I'm off now, Horace. Reggie's driving me home and says he goes right past Dagenham.
On his way to Hampstead?
Oh, I suppose so. Night, then.
Right.
Ah, there you are. I have to go. Daddy's waiting downstairs.
Right.
But we'll meet again. Soon. Sooner than you might expect.
And I was left on my own to wonder what Hilda Whiston had meant by her last doom-laden remark.
How's your liver?
my liver? Oh, this liver. Very tasty, thank you.
Not too tough.
Do stop fussing, Daddy. Rumpole doesn't care about his food. He wants to hear the news you have for him.
All in good time.
This is because Albert likes the cut of your jib. Isn't that true, Daddy? And it's so important to get on well with the clerk.
That doesn't mean you have to join the clerk in the saloon bar or anything of that nature.
Rumpole understands that. Don't you, Rumpole?
Oh, yes, I understand it perfectly.
You'll take some port?
I would have been happier with a bottle of Pomeroy's Plonk than a glass of vintage Coburn's.
Yes, please.
Horrible business, this Penge Bungalow affair. A fellow shooting his father.
Well, we don't know he shot his father. I mean, we shan't know that until the jury comes back with a verdict of guilty.
The opinion of any jury is likely to be dead against young Gerald.
So, he's a client who desperately needs defending brilliantly.
Is what I should have said.
Well, I expect you'll have some problems.
Is all I could manage.
Not problems, impossibilities. 2 war heroes murdered. Men who saved our nation. 2 of the few who went on fearless bombing raids.
Surely the few were fighter pilots.
The point is, they were shot down over occupied France and managed to get back to England, only to become victims of a senseless shooting by the boy Simon Gerald.
Would you rather he'd shot a couple of conscientious objectors?
Is what I should have said. Is all I could manage.
As you probably know, I've been offered the leading brief in R.V. Gerald by a firm of solicitors in Penge. They've asked me to nominate a junior. It was Hilda who put your name forward.
Oh.
Why not give young Rumpole a chance, Daddy? She always calls me Daddy.
Yes. Yes, I know.
You'll be expected to take a full note of the evidence and look up points of law. But I shan't expect you to open your mouth.
For the first time in my legal career, my brief contained photographs of a dead man.
Oh, my word. Look at him. Still sitting in his chair.
Jerry Gerald had been found by the police photographer in the bungalow's living room.
Oh, no.
The man in the chair looked at ease.
Glazed eyes, neat hair,
A blazer with flannel trousers
and
and an RAF tie. Only the dark stain on his shirt, spreading across his chest, indicated the cause of death.
But I didn't do it. I never shot Dad or Charlie.
I've been in prisons before, of course, visiting minor villains, but Simon Gerald was accused of a double murder. And my leader seemed to think he might as well admit his guilt and save us a lot of trouble.
But I think we're all agreed, Gerald, that it's going to be extremely difficult to provide a successful defense in your particular case.
At the plain wooden table sat Simon's legal team. Next to C.H. Whiston, QC, was our instructing solicitor, Barnsley Goff.
Now, Mr. Gerald, you were heard to threaten your father with the gun.
Mr. Goff came with a clerk, whom he called Bernard.
We do have a full list.
He was as young, if not younger, than our client, and had a fresh, keen look about him. Bernard listened intently and took notes.
But I never shot Dad.
You've told us that, but the evidence is against you. Mr. Whiston takes the view that the evidence is so black that we must...
You must be prepared for the worst.
We considered guilty but insane, but unfortunately the doctors wouldn't play ball.
They gave you high marks for intelligence.
So we're thrown back on the facts.
To establish the facts, if I may, Simon, your father and numerous friends from the RAF returned from the theatre to the bungalow, drunk and raucous, waking yourself and insisting you pour them whiskies.
Rumpole, that will do. When I need a summary of the evidence, I shall ask.
I'm sorry. Just trying to be helpful.
We should probably move on to what was said at the party.
I promise you I'll kill the first of you that touches me. A witness, ex-pilot officer Peter Benson, claims you uttered those words whilst waving a Luger pistol at your father and his friends.
They were going to pull my trousers off. Dad wanted them to punish me.
Why?
For getting kicked out of the army. Charlie was the worst. But I never shot him. I never shot anyone. I handed over the gun and went to bed.
You handed over the gun to whom?
Rumpole.
Sorry, still just trying to be helpful.
Peter Benson took the Luger off me. I stayed in my room for the rest of the night. When I woke up, Dad was dead. I got dressed and left.
Why didn't you call the police straight away?
I thought I'd get the blame because of what happened with the gun.
You were right there, my lad.
But I turned myself in. When I'd had some time to think about it.
Did you go to Charlie Best's bungalow during the night?
Not at all.
Did you shoot Mr. Best in his bungalow?
Never.
You do realize that your failure to call for an ambulance or the police when you first found your father adds considerably to our difficulties. You would agree with that, Mr. Goff?
I certainly would. It's the stumbling block.
You mean you can't help me?
When you found your father dead, where was the gun?
I didn't see it anywhere.
It was found in a dustbin by the back door. 2 bullets had been fired.
Yes, I'm aware of that, thank you. Simon, did you wipe your fingerprints off the gun and the magazine?
No, I never did that.
What are you suggesting, Rumpole? Who says they were wiped off?
Actually, the forensic science report says it.
Huh?
Yes, sir. Page 56 of the depositions.
I was grateful to the young office boy, Bernard.
I see. Yes. The gun and magazine had evidently been wiped. There were no fingerprints of any sort.
Exactly, but everyone had seen our client holding the gun. What would have been the point of his wiping off his own fingerprints?
You must forgive Mr. Rumpole. He is, like yourself, a young man. He will take a full note of the evidence, and that is all. The questions will be asked by myself, and I will, of course, make the final speech to the jury on your behalf. Does that set your mind at rest?
Simon Gerald did not look as though his mind was at rest.
Come in.
Oh, hello.
Hello there, Rumpole.
I thought I might bump into you. I'm waiting for Daddy to come back from court and take me out to dinner. Got any particular message for him?
Blood.
What about it?
There were bloodstains in the bungalow in Penge.
Well, of course there were bloodstains if the wretched boy shot his father.
We have to presume he didn't.
Why on earth should we presume that?
Because the law tells us to.
The presumption of innocence doesn't mean that some people aren't guilty.
If you could just tell your father that I've had some ideas about the blood.
Oh, I don't think Daddy will be very interested in that sort of thing.
Perhaps you could tell me what part of the defence does interest Daddy.
Daddy always says that the job of a defending counsel is to wrap the client in a cloak of respectability.
I happen to believe that bloodstains might be more useful to Simon than a cloak of respectability.
Who's Simon?
Simon Gerald, the prisoner at the bar.
Daddy just calls him Gerald. I don't think he's ever referred to him as Simon.
Well, perhaps he should. Then the jury might think of him as a human being, a boy. It's possible they've got sons of his age.
Rumpole, I think for your future career, after R.V. Gerald's over, you should concentrate on civil law.
I hardly know any civil law.
Then you should brush up on it. Daddy always says that civil law is so much cleaner than crime.
I don't agree. To me, criminal law is all about life, love, and the pursuit of happiness. Civil law is only about money, an uninteresting subject.
You'll probably think differently when it comes to getting married.
If I ever do, I'm sure I'll be able to rub along on a life of crime.
Your wife will expect more than that. By the way, you know how you landed the junior brief in R.V. Gerald?
Your father said you recommended me.
I did. When it comes to questions of your career, I have your interests at heart.
Okay.
Hello? Yes, Daddy. Where should I meet you?
She hurried away to Simpson's in the Strand. I was left to worry more about the bloodstains in Penge, and less than perhaps I should about why Hilda Whiston was planning my future career at the bar. In my comparative innocence, I hadn't noticed that the dark clouds were gathering not only over Simon Gerald, but over much of Rumpole's life to come.
It's quite like old times, Horace.
Yes, Daisy. Like the old times before you danced away from me.
Oh, it was the gentleman's excuse me.
That gentleman excused himself far too much, if you want my opinion.
Well, that other girl seemed keen enough to dance with you.
That other girl happens to be the daughter of my head of chambers.
It didn't stop her wanting to dance with you, did it?
Oh.
In the canteen at London Sessions, I bit into my buttered bun.
Fair point.
What Daisy Sampson had just said seemed to point to a road down which I was not yet prepared to travel.
I suppose I should thank you for this brief today.
I thought it might be a good idea for you to meet the Timpsons.
There's more than one.
A huge number over there.
Oh, yeah.
They've all turned up to see Uncle Cyril sent back to prison. They reckon he needs a lot of support.
They look like a reliable group. Shall I call some of them as character witnesses?
Better not. They've had more convictions than you've had hot dinners.
What do they do?
Crime. Nothing violent, nothing spectacular. Just ordinary decent breaking and entering, that sort of thing. But the best thing about them is the amount of work they provide for the legal profession.
It was when she said this that I was prepared to forgive Daisy her infidelity at the Inner Temple ball.
Let's talk to Uncle Cyril.
I'm going to plead guilty.
Uncle Cyril was short and plump with greying hair.
That's it.
I judged him to be in his
Nothing else
60s.
to say.
He smiled a lot and seemed grateful for my visit.
The charge is that you broke into Sound Universe, a radio and television shop in Cold Harbour Lane, and stole 6 radios, 1 television set, 5 alarm clocks, 4 electric kettles, and 1 small egg timer. You were then seen putting those items into your van at 2 o'clock in the morning.
I've never been out of bed at 2 o'clock in the morning, never in my life. And I don't have no van.
Ah, well then.
I'm still pleading guilty.
But you'll be sent back to prison.
Where I'll be safe.
Safe from what?
The Malloys.
The Malloys and the Timpsons hate each other.
Who are these Malloys?
Another big family in the same bit of London. The Malloys do crime that's neither ordinary nor decent.
The Malloys won't never forgive me over the Meadow Sweet Building Society job. I just bumped into Purcell.
Detective Inspector White.
And he asked me if I got anything I could give him.
He wanted an alarm clock?
He wanted information.
I might have mentioned there was talk of Jimmy Malloy doing the Meadowsweet job.
For which Jimmy got 3 years.
So now they've fingered me to Purcell for the radios and the TVs and what have you.
But you didn't do it.
Well, of course I didn't. But if I go inside, they won't be able to touch me. Reckon I'll get sent to Wandsworth. Jimmy Malloy, he went up north somewhere.
I can't do it.
Well, you can't do what, Mr. Rumpole?
I absolutely refuse to be the first barrister who's pleaded guilty for a customer he knows is innocent. However attractive you find the idea of prison, Mr. Timpson.
You reckon I ought to fight it?
I know you have to fight it. If you won't listen to me, perhaps I might have a word with your family.
They were all assembled in the canteen. Harry Timpson, head of the clan.
Mr. Rumpole, is it? Meet the wife, Brenda.
All right.
Hello, and you must be...
Freddie. But you can call me Fred.
In line to succeed his father, Fred was there with his warm-hearted wife.
Hello. We haven't met, have we? Think I'd remember.
Yes.
Vi, whom I was to defend on many a shoplifting charge in the future.
Were you looking for a new motor at all?
Dennis, an expert on forged logbooks and clocking cars, as I was to discover in the years to come.
Oh, leave the young man alone. He looks to me like he needs a bit of a lie down.
Doris, the wife of Dennis, had a glamorous and heavy-lidded expression, a tight sweater, and enough perfume to drown a small furry animal. I was only a white wig, taking on a Timpson brief at the last moment, but I have to say I have never been listened to with as much courteous attention by any of the judges who deal in crime as I received from the Timpson family.
May it please you, members of the Timpson family, what Cyril is asking for is an ignominious surrender to the forces of evil. It is only a few years since we emerged victorious from a war with a ruthless enemy with whom I'm sure the Malloys would have had much in common. Well, did we quietly surrender to the Wehrmacht and to the SS? Did we say politely, it's all our fault, so please walk over us with your stormtroopers and your jackboots? We did not.
No.
We fought back and told the truth, and in the end, we won. And if we hadn't, what would have happened, eh? The world would have been ruled by the Nazis.
I was in a Churchillian mood.
We must fight them in Cold Harbour Lane. We must fight them on Streatham Hill. And we must fight them in Clapham. We must never surrender.
Well, that's easy for him to say.
He gets my vote.
Well, you don't know the Malloys, Vi.
He's very persuasive, isn't he?
Yeah, what are you looking at him like that for, Doris?
I'm just listening, that's all. No harm in that.
But this case was down as a plea of guilty, Mr. Rumpole. Your client is causing a good deal of trouble with the lists.
I'm sure Your Honour would agree that any amount of trouble with the lists is less important than Mr. Timpson's right to a fair hearing.
You are of quite recent call to the bar. Perhaps in future you will be able to control your client's inconvenient changes of mind.
I hope not, Your Honour.
Was what I should have said?
I hope not, Your Honour.
Was what I did say. And the judge, custodial Cookson, looked as though he would have liked to say a good deal more. Instead, he told me we'd been informed of the new date and we were refused bail. So, Uncle Cyril was remanded for a while at least, within the safety of the prison walls. I was gazing once more at the photographs of the scene of the crime, what my old tutor at Keble had taught me to call the locus in quo.
Yes, so there he is, dead. The door a little open. Should I go for a chop in the Lion's Corner house?
Another question occurred to me. I put a call through to the offices of our Penge solicitors.
Mr. Goff's telephone?
Yes, is Mr. Goff there, please? It's Horace Rumpole.
I'm afraid he had to leave. Can I help at all, Mr. Rumpole?
Is that Bernard?
Yes, Mr. Rumpole.
The memory of his boyish open countenance came back to me.
Hail, Bonnie Bernard!
That name has stuck over the years.
Hello, Mr. Rumpole.
Years during which, apart from a few moments of regrettable infidelity, Bonnie Bernard has been my perpetual support.
It has occurred to me, Bonnie, that I would like to take a look at the locus.
He's in it.
What?
Our client is in the lock, whatever you said.
No, Bonnie Bernard. The locus in quo, the scene of the crime. Can we see it?
Oh, I don't know.
You'll just have to fix it with the officer in charge of the case and tell the prosecution. They're entitled to be there.
And your leader?
Oh, I'll tell Mr. Whiston all about it, of course.
It's just down here, on the left. The policeman's there already. I'm not sure if Mr. Proudfoot will be able to join us.
Ah, well, we'll just have to cope with our disappointment.
Thank you, Constable. Well, this is it, Mr. Rumpole.
Can you picture this room on the night of the murders?
I'm not sure I can.
It seems a little small, doesn't it, to accommodate a party of half a dozen half-drunk wartime heroes?
Is this the armchair where where they found him?
You should sit there.
Why?
Well, so we can imagine I'm pointing a Luger at you.
All right, I'll play along with this, Mr. Rumpole. But I'm not sure I should.
Why fire this weapon now?
What weapon?
Well, you have to pretend my finger is the barrel of a gun.
I don't believe Mr. Whiston would have asked his instructing solicitor to sit down upon the exhibits, sir.
Sorry, Constable. It won't happen again.
I can understand, Rumpole, how your connection with an important case has led you astray. It has caused you to make an error of judgment.
I just thought you were probably too busy to visit the scene of the crime yourself.
No. You wanted to do something on your own. I understand that. The feeling was perfectly natural.
You've read my notes?
Of course I've read your notes, dear boy.
It was the first time that Hilda's father had called me dear boy.
But there is one unfortunate fact that you seem to have overlooked. One question I would suggest that for all your industry you failed to ask. If young Gerald didn't shoot his father or Charles Best, then who on earth did?
The duty of the leader is to lead, Mr. Rumpole. It's for him to decide what witnesses to call and the general conduct of the case. It's the duty of the junior to take a full note...
I know, Albert. It's the junior's duty to take a full note of the evidence and occasionally buy his leader a cup of coffee.
You've got it, Mr. Rumpole.
Sorry, excuse me. Oh, they said in the clerk's room you'd be here.
Bonnie Bernard!
I've been making inquiries as per your instructions.
Does Mr. Whiston know about this?
When we get some results, he'll be the first to know.
The Bristol bombers flown by Jerry and Charlie had 3 men on board. They always had a man called Galloway as their navigator. David Galloway.
Can we call him, get a statement?
Afraid not. Galloway went missing, believed dead.
Thank you for the Guinness. I told Mr. Whiston I'd have a word with you, and I've done that. Please bear in mind what I've said.
Of course I shall. But there's one thing more important than keeping my leader happy.
What's that?
Trying to save young Simon's life.
I only hope, Mr. Rumpole, that you're as clever as you think you are.
Mr. Rochford, you live over the radio shop Sound Universe in Cold Harbour Lane, Brixton?
Yeah, that's right.
As soon as I'd started my cross-examination of the chief prosecution witness in Uncle Cyril's case, a misleading confidence came over me. Behind me were the troops I had persuaded to follow me into battle, the Timpson family. In the dock, Uncle Cyril was smiling in a detached sort of way, as though the proceedings were really nothing much to do with him.
Perhaps you'd like to tell us what time you and your wife went to bed the night that Cyril Timpson is alleged to have broken into your shop.
Mr. Rumpole, could you confine your cross-examination to relevant matters? Or are you going to inquire at what time Mr. and Mrs. Rochford drank their final cup of Horlicks?
I think the jury may be interested in the suggestion that Mr. and Mrs. Rochford slept throughout this alleged break-in.
Alleged? Are you suggesting there wasn't a break-in?
If Your Honour will allow me to continue with my questions, the court will discover exactly what I am suggesting.
It was the first time I had been in the least bit rude, even to a mere London Sessions judge. And the effect of it was like that on a young girl who takes her first gulp of champagne. I'm afraid it went straight to my head.
I think the jury will want to know what time Mr. Rochford went to sleep, having had his Horlicks, and why he woke at 2 o'clock, just as my client was loading the last of several items removed from the shop without disturbing the witness who, I imagine, must have put a good slug of whiskey in his Horlicks.
Mr. Rumpole! You must learn that London Sessions is not a theatre. Your client is facing a serious charge, and you would do well to take it seriously.
Of course, Your Honour. But I hope you'll allow me to ask the witness if he knows a Mr. Terry Malloy.
Daisy Sampson, for all her red lips and seductive ways, had done her research well. Terry Malloy was the owner of the radio shop in Brixton.
Do you have any relevant questions, Mr. Rumpole?
I think it's relevant to ask the witness if it was Mr. Malloy who showed him the photograph of Cyril Timpson that enabled the witness to pick him out at an identity parade.
The witness, of course, denied everything I suggested, and the trial wound its slow way onwards, until I summed up with a peroration I've used, with a few essential adjustments, in hundreds of cases since.
Members of the jury, you will soon be back to your normal lives, and you'll have forgotten all about the radio and television shop in Cold Harbour Lane. But for Cyril Timpson, the frightened, elderly man I represent, this is one of the most important moments of his life. Can you send him to prison on this evidence, in this strange and unusual case? Members of the jury, I leave the future life of Uncle Cyril Timpson in your hands, and I am confident that your verdict will be not guilty.
The jury gave Cyril what he said he wanted: 2 years in prison, safe and sound.
Mr. Goss telephone?
Is that you, Bernard?
Mr. Rumpole, I was just about to phone you. I've got a bit more about the dead navigator, David Galloway.
Never mind, Galloway. I want you to find out all you can about the backgrounds and war records of all the officers who were at that party in Penge. Can you do that?
I'll do it for you, Mr. Rumpole. But will you be able to use all that information?
Bonnie. In a trial like this, who knows what's going to happen?
I said that, of course, because I still had no clear idea of what I was looking for. In the defence of Simon Gerald, and in the pursuit of a female companion.
Do you know, you never ask me out nowadays, Horace.
In the hallway of the Horseferry Road Magistrates' Court, Daisy Sampson uttered a sigh of regret.
And I've done all I can to give you my brief.
I ignored the old joke.
And the Timpsons think the sun shines out of your backside now. They're decent, hard-working minor criminals, and they should give you lots of jobs. So why don't you ask me out?
Because the last time I did, you waltzed away with Reggie Proudfoot.
He's not a gentleman, that Reggie Proudfoot. Definitely not a gentleman. He took me out to dinner, the Regent Palace Hotel, then pretended he'd forgotten his wallet. So I had to pay every penny. You'd never treat a girl like that, would you?
I'm sure I wouldn't.
I looked at her inviting red lips, drawn back from the teeth that had never suffered restraint, the small heart-shaped face, and the eyes full of mischief.
Who's that?
I made a quick calculation of the fees I'd already received from small jobs, plus what I was likely to gain from losing the Timpson case, and thought of how much I'd be saved by more evenings boiling eggs on the gas ring.
Perhaps you'd like to have dinner with me.
The Regent Palace.
I was thinking more in terms of the Hibernian hostelry.
Suits me. I've never seen where you live.
I've got a bedsit not far from here. Has a gas ring and a bed. Well, of course, the bed's in the sitting room.
That sounds convenient.
And my landlady owns a shop below that sells trusses, wooden legs, and rubber johnnies.
That sounds very convenient.
On which happy note, we settled on a date for dinner.
I think I'll have the prawn cocktail, followed by the steak and chips.
I'll have the same.
And a bottle of your finest tenacious rosé.
Oh, you're really spoiling me, Horace. Can I have a black forest gatto as well, if I've got room?
It was what followed the pudding that I was looking forward to. I had prepared myself by visiting my landlady's shop and buying a packet of 3 rubber johnnies, hoping for their immediate assistance. But Daisy was showing a remarkable interest in Penge.
If your leaders told you not to say a single word, why would you do so much preparation?
I'm trying to find an answer to Whiston's question.
What question was that?
If young Gerald didn't shoot his father, then who on earth did?
But you're trying to get in touch with the other chap in the bomber, the navigator.
Did I tell you that?
Didn't you?
I may have done. Anyway, he's no help. He died when the plane crashed and caught fire. By some miracle, Jerry and Charlie escaped from the blaze.
So they were lucky.
Well, death got them in the end. You wanted to see where I live.
Did I?
And you said it would be convenient me having the bed in the sitting room, so... Would you like to see it now?
Will it take long?
It'll take just as long as we want it to take.
Taxi!
Welcome to my convenient home.
I had honestly done my best. Fresh sheets, some dusting, a jug of chrysanthemums on the bedside table. I considered scattering rose petals, but decided against it for reasons of economy.
It's very nice, Horace. I'm sure you must be...
I've got another bottle of Matthias Rosé. Would you like a drink?
Daisy was consulting her watch.
Is that the time?
Not a good sign.
I'm sorry. There's this party with clients at the 400.
Hey.
I promised to join them after dinner. Good night, Horace.
And she was off down the stairs. I sat on the bed and drank the wine and thought about the 3 rubber johnnies in my wallet.
All stand!
The British can be relied on to produce regular events for the entertainment of the public. Cricket at Lord's, the pantomime on Boxing Day, and a murder trial staged in Court Number 1 at the Old Bailey. It plays to packed houses, news of it fills the daily papers, and then, after guilty headlines, it disappears into history.
Put up Simon Gerald!
I sat behind my so-called leader, C.H. Whiston, Q.C. I glanced up at the public gallery and saw Hilda making herself comfortable in the front row of the dress circle. Next to Whiston sat the prosecutor, Daisy's dancing partner, Reggie Proudfoot. Emerging from a door with half a smile on his thin, cruel face was the judge, Lord Jessup.
Yes, Mr. Proudfoot.
The counsel for the prosecution began his opening speech and told the jury what they could look forward to in the course of the next few days.
And we shall be calling the ex-RAF officers who attended the post-theatre party in Penge. All those who survived will tell you that they saw Simon Gerald, the young man in the dock, pointing the Luger pistol at his father and, I'm afraid, threatening to kill.
Hilda's daddy had charged me to take a note, so I was writing down almost every word that Reggie Proudfoot uttered.
The prosecution case is that when all the guests had gone, this boy came out of his bedroom, regained possession of the Luger, Prosecution Exhibit 1, and seeing his father still sitting at the fireside, stood over him and shot him through the heart.
This was a passage I underlined heavily. And then I noticed my leader whispering into the ear of our clerk, Albert, who'd entered the court and seemed troubled. As did the judge.
Mr. Whiston.
My lord, I'm sorry. It seems I might be in some kind of difficulty. My clerk has just told me I have an important application in the Court of Appeal tomorrow morning. a planning application. However, there is no controversy about the medical evidence in this case, so my learned junior, Mr. Horace Rumpole, will be able to take a careful note of what the doctor says.
I'm glad to hear it. Happily, members of the jury, we are to be spared the confusion of medical men who disagree.
The first ex-RAF officer who entered the witness box was one Timothy Wardle. He told how young Simon pointed the Luger at his father and uttered a threat to kill. When Reggie Proudfoot finished with Wardle, it was my leader's chance to cross-examine.
Yes, Mr. Whiston.
Magazine of bullets. Ask him if the gun was loaded.
What's that?
It's in the notes I gave you.
Members of the jury, there appears to be some kind of dispute in the defense team, in which case perhaps the prosecution would have Mr. Wardle available tomorrow morning when Mr. Whiston returns from the Court of Appeal.
Certainly, my lord.
I just thought the evidence about the bullets was important.
As I've tried to tell you, we are agreeing with everything that happened at that party. Now, you promised me you won't attack the medical evidence. Dr. Percival Phillimore is not a man whose opinion should ever be questioned.
Then I'll treat him with the respect he deserves.
Excellent. I'll be back from the appeal court as soon as I can. It's a vital matter. Do you think the client understands that?
Simon Gerald seemed to understand very little as we said goodbye. He stared at the ground between his feet in silence. But I felt a kind of excitement, as though the next day offered a chance, if I could only grab it, of great importance in the Rumpole career.
The cause of death was a bullet wound to the heart, and that occurred approximately 5 or 6 hours before the body of Mr. Gerald was brought to the mortuary. The wound had clearly been made by the German bullets preserved and exhibited.
Thank you, Dr. Phillimore.
Just a moment, Doctor.
Yes?
Mr. Rumpole, is it? We understood from your learned leader that you agreed with the medical evidence.
Of course, my lord. I have just a few questions.
Looking back down the long corridor of history to my early days as a white wig and my finest hour in court, I have come to the conclusion that life is just a game of chance. By what ill fortune was there a Luger pistol with a magazine full of bullets available in the Penge Bungalow on the night that young Simon Gerald had a quarrel with his father? If Daisy Sampson hadn't danced away from me in the inner temple hall, might I have so impressed Hilda that she'd recommend me to her father? And if he hadn't been called away to the Court of Appeal, would I ever have been able to cross-examine the great forensic oracle, Dr. Percival Phillimore? In Part 1 of Rumpole and the Penge Bungalow Murders by John Mortimer, the elder Horace Rumpole was played by me, Timothy West, and the younger Horace Rumpole was Benedict Cumberbatch. C.H. Whiston was played by Geoffrey Whitehead, Albert the Clerk, Andy de la Tour, Simon Gerald, Ewan Bailey, and Daisy, Emma Fielding. Hilda Whiston was Jasmine Hyde, Reggie Proudfoot was Stephen Critchlow, Bonnie Bernard was Matthew Morgan, Judge Cookson, Carl Johnson, and Lord Jessup was David Shaw Parker. Rumpole and the Penge Bungalow Murders was adapted by Richard Stoneman, directed by Marilyn Imrie, and is a Catherine Bailey production for BBC Radio 4.
And now, part 2 of our new Rumpole story. And we return to the 1950s as the young Horace Rumpole steps into number 1 court at the Old Bailey, alone and without a leader, to defend a young man accused of the murder of his father and another man in a bungalow in Penge. Rumpole also has to deal with the challenge of 2 young ladies in his life, Daisy Sampson and Hilda Whiston. And I think Rumpole fans will guess which one will capture his heart.
Rumpole and the Penge Bungalow Murders by John Mortimer, adapted by Richard Stillman. Starring me, Timothy West, as the elder Horace Rumpole, and Benedict Cumberbatch as the younger Horace Rumpole. Part 2, Alone and Without a Leader. Looking back down the long corridor of history to my early days as a white wig and my finest hour in court, I have come to the conclusion that life is just a game of chance. By what ill fortune was there a Luger pistol with a magazine full of bullets available in the Penge Bungalow on the night that young Simon Gerald had a quarrel with his father? If Daisy Sampson hadn't danced away from me in the inner Temple Hall, might I have so impressed Hilda that she'd recommend me to her father? And if he hadn't been called away to the Court of Appeal, would I ever have been able to cross-examine the great forensic oracle, Dr. Percival Fillimore?
Dr. Fillimore, death after being shot through the heart isn't necessarily instantaneous, is it? You've written about victims who've walked several yards.
That is so, yes.
Might the witness be given the photograph of the room with the deceased in the armchair? You see the dead man on the left of the fireplace. Behind him is an open door that leads to a short hallway and the front door of the bungalow.
I see that, thank you.
Is there not a blood stain, which we are all agreed is of the same group as the deceased's blood, on the wall of the hallway?
Yes.
So is it not possible that he may have been shot, got up from his chair, and moved at least that distance into the hallway?
Well, yes. Yes, that is possible.
I had him there. He could hardly refute my suggestions, which were, I had to confess, quite brilliant.
Or might it be possible that he was in the hall, opened the door to someone who shot him, so that he bled in the hallway and returned to his chair to die?
I couldn't rule out that possibility either.
Dr. Fillimore, you've made a study of the path of bullets in a body. So can you confirm that if the gun were held higher than the wound and shot downwards, there would be a downward trajectory?
Obviously.
But if the assailant and the victim were both standing at about the same height, the trajectory would be straight, as it is in this case.
That is what I found, yes.
Can we therefore rule out the theory that the assailant here was standing and shooting downwards at a man seated in the chair?
I think we can, yes.
So, when the prosecution suggested that my client stood over his father and shot him in the heart as he sat, it couldn't have happened like that, could it?
No, I don't think it could.
Thank you, Dr. Fillimore. My lord, your lordship asked that the witness, Mr. Wardle, might be here this morning in case we had any questions.
In case your learned leader had any questions.
And in my leader's absence, I am asking to put a question to Mr. Wardle.
I don't suppose you can object to that, Mr. Proudfoot.
Unhappily for the judge, the prosecutor couldn't.
No objections, my lord.
And the chubby and cherubic ex-pilot officer, now double-glazing salesman, re-entered the witness box.
Mr. Wardle, you told us yesterday that you saw Simon Gerald pick up the Luger pistol and talk about killing...
Yes, I promise you I'll kill the first of you that touches me.
I am much obliged for your help, my lord. Now, Mr. Wardle, Simon Gerald will say that the magazine with the bullets in it was kept separate from the gun. Did you see Simon load the magazine into the pistol?
Before the witness could answer, there was a small disturbance. The door swung open, and Hilda's daddy returned to court. Seeing me on my feet, he gave me a look of something like horror.
No, I can't say I did.
He heard Mr. Wardle admit that he hadn't seen Simon loading the pistol.
So, for all you know, Simon may have been holding an unloaded gun when he made those threats.
Well, I suppose so, yes.
I gave you strict instructions not to ask any questions.
I thought of one or two points that might help us.
Oh, jolly well done, Rumpole. He scored a couple of direct hits in his cross-examination, Daddy.
That's as maybe.
I fear your lunch will have to wait, Mr. Whiston. Our client requires an urgent word.
Really? About what?
I want Mr. Rumpole to do my case.
But Mr. Rumpole is doing your case. He's taking a careful note, and is a very important part of your defence team.
But I don't want you on my defence team. I only want Mr. Rumpole.
Oh, that's quite out of the question.
But you just sat there, like a pudding.
A pudding? Did he say a pudding?
The young man's not quite himself.
I am quite myself, thanks to Mr. Rumpole. He wanted you to ask about the magazine. And what did you do? Sat there, like a pudding.
Like a pudding? Again.
And who got the doctor to admit I couldn't have shot Dad in the way they said when you were away on other business? Mr. Rumpole.
Well, it's clear, Mr. Goff, that our client has lost faith in his appointed counsel. He must realise I can't continue to represent him if he has no confidence in me.
Oh, I'm sure he doesn't want that.
Yes, I do want that. I want it very much.
Then I shall withdraw from the case. Rumpole, you will no doubt withdraw with me.
I want Mr. Rumpole to stay.
When a leading counsel withdraws, his junior naturally does the same.
Is there a law about that?
It's one of the finest traditions of the great profession of the bar.
The finest traditions of our great profession may not be so important as saving Simon's life.
Well, if that's what you think, then all I can say is... Well, we'd better see the judge.
Theobald Jessup was the judge who always ordered crumpets in his club after passing a death sentence.
I understand completely, Wystan, that your position has become untenable.
Well,
you're entitled to withdraw, and Mr. Rumpole too, of course.
Our client wants me to do the case.
Really? Then, I suppose your client's wishes must be respected.
My first day alone in court didn't present too many problems. Simon's statement to the police was put in and read. We had the evidence of finding the pistol in the dustbin. And then, when we rose for the day, I took the opportunity of another meeting with Simon and Bonnie Bernard in the interview room down below.
When you first joined up, Dad was so excited. He came home on leave in his full uniform, pleased with himself for being made a pilot officer. Me and Mum were proud of Dad, and he seemed proud of himself. But then he started going to the pub all the time, getting drunk.
With Peter Benson?
With him and Charlie. I think Dad changed his mind about the war. He was miserable because it was a war we couldn't win.
He actually told you that?
He said the Germans had all the power. He said Hitler didn't really want to conquer the British Empire. We should make peace and let him get on with kicking those Russian communists up the arse.
You weren't meant to talk like that during the war, were you?
That's what worried Mum. She told me not to tell anyone at school. She never told her friends.
Talking of friends, does the name David Galloway mean anything?
He was Dad's navigator, a friend of Peter Benson's.
And the only one to die when the plane was shot down.
We thought Dad was dead too at the time. In a way, that came as a relief to Mum. It was all over.
But then your mother...
Shopping. In Oxford Street. A stupid buzz bomb got her. My Aunt Harriet came over from Chertsey to look after me. Then we heard the news. Dad and Charlie had been picked up by the Allies in France. The war was over. Dad and Charlie came home.
And how did he seem to you, your father, when he got back?
He was just like he'd been at the start of the war, full of pride and enthusiasm. We didn't hear anything more about making peace with Hitler.
Did he tell you what happened in France?
He said the plane was shot down, and he made a crash landing. He and Charlie got out before it burst into flames.
But the navigator didn't.
That was a bit vague. He just said he and Charlie got captured by the Germans, went to prison, stayed there till the end of the war. Well, nearly. They managed to escape, and the American 7th Army picked them up, sent them home.
So Charlie and your father were both prisoners of war. Did he tell you much about that?
Nothing. Don't think he wanted to remember the bad times. He told me about the Luger he found on the dead German soldier, near the prison he escaped from, I think.
One thing puzzles me.
Just the one?
Your father went through a time when he hated war, but then he quarreled with you at the party, said you shouldn't have missed that war and you ought to enjoy training for the next one.
Yes. He was always saying the war would have made a man of me.
What did you tell him?
That I hoped it would never happen again. And I wanted him to stop talking about it.
Which made him angry?
Very angry.
Mr. Whiston wants to see you, sir.
Albert Handyside uttered the words I'd been dreading.
Come. There you are. Now, can I offer you a glass of sherry?
Well, thank you.
It can't be pleasant to have to face the possibility of a death sentence. Most upsetting. So naturally, our client couldn't concentrate, couldn't understand our tactics.
Which were what, exactly?
Not to irritate the court and antagonize the jury by challenging evidence we agreed with.
Yes, but when you were away and I got the evidence about the entry of the bullets and the separate magazine, our client seemed quite grateful.
Your asking those questions may have given you considerable influence over our client. If so, it's up to you to use that influence to help young Simon Gerald.
That's what I intend to do.
You'll persuade him to see sense? You'll tell him to invite me back to take over the conduct of his defense? In spite of his, outrageous behavior. I'm prepared to forgive and forget.
I looked into his eyes and was horribly aware that I could only help Simon or Whiston. And the choice was inevitable.
I mean to get him off.
You don't honestly believe he's innocent.
What I believe is immaterial. My job is simply to put Simon's case as well as I can.
You say your job. Tell the client it's your leader's job.
No. I've just had a long talk with Simon. He's got some hope back at last.
Are you suggesting that my presence in the case would deprive our client of hope? I advise you to start looking for alternative accommodation.
Having been turfed out of chambers, I was going through my brief in the Tasty Bite in Fleet Street as I satisfied myself on fried eggs, sausage, tomatoes and bacon. I had polished off the main part of this strengthening meal when I heard a sharp cry.
Rumpole?
Hilda brought a cup of coffee to my table and sat down beside
If you
me.
go on eating breakfast like that, do you know what you're going to be in the future?
Successful defender of those in trouble with the law?
You're going to be fat.
I'm going to fight for Simon's life. I need a certain amount of nourishment to do it properly. Whether I become fat in the process is of no concern to me.
But it may be of some concern to your wife.
I don't have a wife.
She gave me the sort of patient smile that said, "You have very little idea of what's going on at the moment, and I really can't be bothered to explain, but you'll probably see sense in the end."
I've been talking to Daddy.
Oh. Daddy chucked me out of chambers. It's because of Daddy I've had to prepare my day's work in the Tasty Bite eatery.
Yes, well, I managed to have a word and told him you were doing a difficult case.
Didn't you know that already?
Do stop talking. I got him to agree you could go on using a small room in chambers while you're doing R.V. Gerald.
Did Daddy take a lot of persuading?
He was against it at first, but I managed to wear him down.
Oh, did you? Did you really?
It wasn't long since I'd purchased 3 rubber Johnnies in the hope they'd be of some use after dinner with Daisy Sampson. Sadly, they'd remained in their packets in my wallet that night. Now, I had my wallet open on the table beside me, preparatory to drawing out a 10-bob note towards the Tasty Bites terms for breakfast. As I picked it up, the rubber Johnnies slipped from their moorings and were exposed to the view of the future she who must be obeyed.
Oh, Rumpole, not before it's legal.
What?
We can't think of that sort of thing just yet. Can we?
By now, my thoughts were on the day in court ahead, and I didn't feel I could spare time discussing the illegality of rubber Johnnies.
No, I suppose not.
As I left, Hilda was smiling in a way that seemed almost triumphant. She had, after all, secured a room for me, at least for the duration of the trial, and so I smiled back.
Mr. Rumpole! Mr. Rumpole!
Outside the old Palais de Justice, flashes went off from a few cameras because the newspapers now knew I was defending Simon alone and without a leader. I dived in through the swing doors and took the lift up to the robing room, where various barristers were getting wigs and gowns out of their lockers, fastening winged collars to their studs, tying on crisp white bands.
Ah, how are you today, Rumpole? Getting ready to go down with all guns blazing? Dressing up to sink beneath the waves?
Can't imagine what you mean, Proudfoot.
Like the codger at London Sessions, the fellow you were defending. He wanted a couple of years in prison, and you obliged.
It was as if all the questions and statements and speculation of the last weeks had settled down into one almost credible explanation. And the connection between Uncle Cyril's defence and the deaths of Jerry Gerald and tail-end Charlie Best
That's it.
suddenly became clear.
Thank you, Proudfoot. I can't tell you how grateful I am.
Oh, really? For what?
Mr. Dempsey, you were in the same squadron as Jerry Gerald. Did you know him well?
Pretty well, yes.
And was there a time when he got, shall we say, pessimistic about the war?
He had his gloomy times.
So gloomy he thought Hitler was bound to win?
He said that once or twice, yes.
And what did you say to him when he said that to you?
I told him to stop talking and get on with the job.
Did he ever take your advice?
Until his plane was shot down, yes.
Until his plane was shot down. Did you see much of Jerry Gerald after the war?
We met at a few reunion dinners, that sort of thing.
Including the theatre party on the night of the murders. What was the purpose of that party, do you think?
My lord, the witness can't possibly know what was in the mind of Mr. Gerald, not least because he's now deceased.
Yes, Mr. Rumpole, you have only recently become familiar with the rules of evidence. Apply your knowledge to this case, would you?
As your lordship pleases. Mr. Dempsey, at the party, was there a discussion of your wartime experiences?
Not as such, no. But I did hear Peter Benson discussing prison.
Ah, you knew that Peter Benson was a prisoner of war?
Of course, yes. He often talked about it. And then, on the night of the murders, he proposed a toast to the memory of David Galloway.
David Galloway being the navigator who died when the plane caught fire?
That's correct, yes. It was all rather peculiar.
Peculiar? How?
Well, Peter didn't just propose a toast. He also congratulated Jerry and Charlie on their extraordinary luck in getting out of a burning plane without catching fire themselves.
Did you yourself raise a glass to David Galloway?
Mr. Rumpole, I have allowed a good deal of latitude. The jury, however, may think you are beginning to waste the court's time.
On the other hand, my lord, they may be finding the evidence extremely helpful.
This is not the time for you to comment on the evidence one way or the other.
I'm sorry, my lord. I thought as you were commenting...
Mr. Rumpole, one of the lessons you apparently still have to learn is to be careful what you say in the presence of the jury.
Careful? If I ever became as careful as C.H. Whiston, you might as well fix the date of the execution now.
I didn't, of course, say that. But I thought it,
very well, my
as
lord.
I moved the evidence to safer ground.
Mr. Dempsey, when the party got back to the bungalow, had all the others drunk a good deal?
I would say so, yes.
And when they got Simon out of bed, he poured whiskey for everyone?
That's correct, yes.
And then there was this talk about killing.
I promise you I'll kill the first of you that touches me.
I'm grateful to your lordship for reminding the witness. Mr. Dempsey, did you see young Simon fit the magazine into the gun? Or was he threatening his father with an empty weapon?
Well, I suppose it might have been empty, yes.
Up to this moment, I was enjoying the cross-examination, but I was about to move into a dangerous area and ask questions when I didn't know the answers.
The gun was taken from Simon by Peter Benson?
I saw that, yes.
And did Mr. Benson have any difficulty taking it away from him?
Not as far as I could see.
And if there had been a struggle for the gun, would you have seen it?
I'm sure that I would have, yes.
And after the gun had been removed from Simon, what happened to it?
I really couldn't say.
Did it continue to be a happy party?
Not really, no. Jerry Gerald was drinking quite a lot.
Ever since Peter Benson proposed a toast to the navigator?
To David Galloway, yes. I ordered a taxi. By the time it arrived, only Peter, Jerry, and Charlie were left. The atmosphere was most unpleasant. I went to the bathroom, and then I heard Peter Benson say something more about David Galloway. Something about surrender, about execution.
Execution?
I think so, yes. Then Charlie told me my taxi was there.
And you never saw Jerry or Charlie again?
Never. No.
I suppressed a whoop of joy. I even tried not to smile. And when Bonnie Bernard and I went down to the cells, we found Simon, too, in the best of spirits.
You got that Martin Dempsey, Mr. Rumpole. You really got him.
Thank you, Simon, but we should concentrate on the next prosecution witness rather than the last one. Tell us something about Peter Benson.
Well, I always liked him.
It was Benson who took the gun away from you?
Yes, Mr. Bernard. And he did the right thing. I was being stupid.
He was one of your father's best friends?
He was, until they began to, well, not quarrel exactly. Disagree.
When was that?
About a year ago. Peter was talking a lot about David Galloway. Peter said Galloway's family had never been satisfied with the missing believed dead story. One of them went to France recently, near the place where the plane came down, and he heard something. Some old rumour from members of the resistance about an English flying officer who'd been found dead, shot near an abandoned plane.
Shot, you say?
Dad told Peter it couldn't have been David Galloway because he died when the plane caught fire.
And did that finish the argument?
At the time. But they stopped seeing each other.
No longer friends?
I think Dad regretted that. And that's why he organised the party. He was very pleased when Peter accepted the invitation.
Can you remember what Peter was wearing that night?
An overcoat, I think.
What sort of overcoat?
Long? Dark? I remember he kept it on indoors, said the bungalow was cold. Except it wasn't.
And with that odd little morsel on which to chew, Bonnie Bernard and I climbed from the cells to the entrance hall.
Any more jobs for me, Mr. Rumpole? Nothing else to make inquiries about?
I don't think so, Bonnie. We're about as ready as we're ever likely to be.
Right you are. See you tomorrow, then.
Oh, well done, Horace. You were going great guns this afternoon.
Were you there, Daisy?
In the back of the court. I had an hour to kill, so I squeezed in.
To see your friend Reggie Proudfoot?
No, to see you, Horace. You're on your feet all the time.
Well, I am alone and without a leader.
So I bet you've got some devastating stuff to throw at Reggie's star witness.
Who's that?
Peter Benson.
Do you want to know what I've got to throw at him?
Only if you want to tell me, Horace.
Or does Reggie Proudfoot want me to tell you?
To be absolutely honest, I've hardly discussed your case with Reggie.
Despite my inexperience, I had been at the bar long enough to know that the words, "to be absolutely honest," are usually followed by a thumping lie.
Tell Reggie he'll just have to wait and see.
I left the Old Bailey alone and went down to Pomeroy's, where I bought myself a solitary Chateau Thames embankment. As I drank it, I thought again of the moment in the roping room when Reggie Proudfoot had mocked my defence in the Timpson case. What was the connection between Jerry Gerald and Uncle Cyril? Did Jerry have anything in common with a petty thief from South London who preferred to plead guilty to a crime he didn't commit? Did they both think, albeit in different circumstances, that prison was sometimes the safest place to be? This thought had survived the evidence of Martin Dempsey. Whether it would survive the evidence of Peter Benson, I was about to discover. Ex-pilot officer Peter Benson answered the prosecution's questions quietly but clearly. No doubt conscious of it being Friday afternoon, and knowing the lure of his lordship's pigs in Berkshire, Reggie Proudfoot took Benson quickly through his evidence, so sooner than I had expected. I was on my feet.
Mr. Benson, did you like Jerry Gerald?
We knew each other for quite a long time.
Do you remember when he turned against the war?
I'm not sure what you mean.
I mean, when he said Hitler was bound to win. You do remember that?
I remember him saying something like that.
And did he say that we ought to make peace with Hitler and leave him to fight the Russians?
I think he probably did.
And was that about the time his plane is said to have crashed somewhere over France?
Round about then.
Sir, I ask you again, did you like Jerry Gerald?
I didn't like what he said. I didn't agree with it.
Mr. Rumpole, I've allowed a good deal of latitude.
My Lord, counsel for the prosecution told the jury that Jerry Gerald was a war hero. I'm entitled to put it to the witness that he was perhaps not such a hero as all that.
Whatever degree of heroism he attained, he didn't deserve to be shot.
That's a question I intend to discuss with the witness in due course.
Oh, very well. But you may learn in the fullness of time that the most effective cross-examinations are those that are kept brief.
We'd finish more quickly, my lord, if you let me get on with it.
I didn't, of course, say that. I merely turned to another subject.
Mr. Benson, you knew David Galloway, the navigator.
He was my closest friend.
Until he died in the burning plane?
Yes, until he was killed.
Until he was killed? To keep his memory alive, you proposed a toast in the bar of the Café Royal after visiting the Palladium?
I did.
Did you congratulate Jerry Gerald and Charlie Best on their extraordinary good luck in escaping from a burning aeroplane without getting burned?
I may have said something along those lines.
You never believed the story of the plane crash, did you?
I don't know what you mean.
I, too, would welcome some clarification.
Certainly, my lord. This was the situation. Jerry Gerald thought we would lose the war and persuaded Charlie Best to share his opinions.
I remembered Cyril Timpson again. Uncle Cyril sought protection from a criminal rival by pleading guilty to a burglary that never happened.
So they decided that prison was the only safe place for them.
Do you mean an English prison?
No, my lord, a German prison. Or perhaps, Mr. Benson, they intended to bring down their plane and hand it over to the enemy. Was that their plan?
How was I to know what they planned? We were told their plane was lost and they were all missing. That was all we heard.
Until after the war?
Yes, until Jerry came back to England.
And what did he tell you?
That David Galloway had been caught in the burning plane.
Did you believe him?
That was what he told us.
But weren't you suspicious? Galloway's family had heard something about an officer found shot dead near an abandoned plane. You didn't believe Jerry's story, and you argued with him, yes?
There were things about his story that puzzled me, perhaps.
Did it occur to you that David Galloway might have been killed because he wouldn't agree to the surrender?
What surrender?
The surrender to the Germans of Jerry and Charlie. You had your suspicions and you kept close to Jerry because you wanted to find out the truth.
I thought there were questions still to be answered.
Questions still to be answered. Members of the jury. So, now we have reached the events in the bungalow after the theatre.
I'm sure we're all extremely grateful for that.
You kept your overcoat on, Mr. Benson, until you left the bungalow, and you were the last to leave.
I feel the cold. I haven't been well lately. Anyway, I thought I wouldn't stay all that long.
But things got dramatic, so you did stay. What did you think of young Simon being baited for not taking part in the war, for funking his national service?
I didn't like it. I didn't join in.
Very brave of you, with your unanswered questions about Jerry's crashed plane. Didn't you think it a bit rich that he attacked his son for not fighting in a war?
I may have thought that.
But you didn't say so.
No.
On the night of the murders, we've heard that some of the guests at the party threatened to remove Simon's trousers. And he picked up the Luger pistol.
And told his father he'd use it to kill him.
But you were the one who got him to give up the gun?
I was.
Did he resist you?
At first, but not for long.
The witnesses all say he let go of the gun without any resistance at all. And they all say that they didn't see him put the magazine in the gun. Did you see that?
I can't remember him touching the magazine, no.
So we can agree that he may have been pointing an empty gun.
Well, perhaps he was at the time. The things may have been different later.
Oh, yes, they were. Entirely different. Every witness called by the prosecution has said that they couldn't remember you putting the gun back on the mantelpiece after Simon had gone to his room.
Of course I put it back.
Nobody saw you do it. Because it went straight into your overcoat pocket together with the magazine which you collected when the drinks began to flow again and nobody was looking.
Why ever would I want to take the gun away with me?
Because you believe that 2 pilot officers surrendered their plane and themselves to the enemy. What would have been the penalty if that sort of conduct had been discovered during the war? The penalty for treason.
I suppose possibly death.
And you were sure those 2 men had killed your friend David Galloway. You saw the perfect opportunity to do justice. You knew Simon would be the #1 suspect if his father was shot that night, having threatened him with a gun. So you returned an hour later to execute both of the officers. And when you'd done all that, all you had to do was wipe the gun and the magazine free of fingerprints and leave them in the Gerald's dustbin as further evidence against the young man who may have to pay with his life for the crimes you committed.
That's not true. None of that's true. Lies. From start to finish, stupid lies.
No further questions.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Rumpole. Mr. Proudfoot, I've been looking at the clock. I expect you may have a number of questions to ask in re-examination.
Oh, I have, my lord.
Then I suggest we adjourn now, as it's Friday and quite late in the afternoon, yes? And will Mr. Benson be available to deal with your questions on Monday morning?
My lord, indeed he will.
Mr. Rumpole, in view of the serious charges you've made against this witness, do you agree to the course I have suggested?
I knew that whatever I said wouldn't make the slightest difference to his lordship's decision. So Mr. Rumpole agreed.
As your lordship pleases.
With unexpected results. After the longest weekend of my life, I found myself walking up to the bar mess on the top floor of the Old Bailey.
Sit down, Rumpole. Coffee?
Thank you, Proudfoot.
You know, your cross-examination of Peter Benson was so effective that the witness in question has gone absent without leave.
Oh, I'm sure you'll find him.
Well, I'm not so sure. The police have been round to his flat, locked up and empty.
We went back to court #1, and further facts emerged, one of them being that Peter Benson had removed a large amount of cash from his bank on the day he gave evidence, as though he was already considering the possibility of flight before he entered the witness box.
Could we have another adjournment pending further inquiries, my lord?
It is intolerable for my client to be kept waiting for his fate to be decided because a prosecution witness can no longer face the court.
Rather to my surprise, the judge agreed with me.
Very well, Mr. Rumpole.
So I called the accused, who professed his innocence. Reggie Proudfoot made the most of the fact that Simon didn't call the police or a doctor when he found his father dead in his chair. If our case was no better after Simon left the witness box, at least it was no worse.
Members of the jury, I don't have to prove my case against Peter Benson. He has chosen to run away from this court, and that fact may persuade you that he has something to hide. The question you have to ask yourselves is that, given all this evidence, including the fact that he was the last person to be seen with the gun, is it possible that Mr. Benson committed the Penge Bungalow murders? If you come to the conclusion that he is, perhaps, the murderer, then you can't be sure of Simon Gerald's guilt, and it will be your duty to return a verdict of not guilty.
I sat down and felt, as I have since, in so many cases, an extraordinary sense of relief. I had done all I could for Simon, and my job was over. Now it was for the jury to decide.
Have I got a chance, Mr. Rumpole?
The judge's summing up was very fair. You do have a chance.
Donny Bernard and I sat in the canteen, our stomachs awash with coffee, and our fears growing. The jury had been out nearly 3 hours. Then, as now, a prolonged retirement was not good news for the defense. At very long last, the message came. The jury was coming back to court #1 with a verdict. Simon was brought up from the cells and sat between the dock officers, staring at his hands as though afraid to look up. Hilda smiled down at me from the public gallery and raised her thumbs as a sign of encouragement. And then an extraordinary thing happened. Hilda's daddy, wigged and gowned as though he'd been fighting the case, slid into the seat in front of me, just as the jury came clattering back into their places. The clerk of the court rose to ask the final questions.
Would the foreman please stand? Have you reached a verdict on which you are all agreed?
We have.
And do you find Simon Gerald guilty or not guilty of willful murder?
Not guilty.
I don't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Neither could Simon, who was looking round the court in amazement. The press benches emptied as the reporters ran out to queue for the telephones. And then, to my further amazement, C.H. Whiston rose and addressed the judge.
May my client be released, my lord?
He spoke with great authority, as though he had pulled off a remarkable triumph.
Certainly, Mr. Whiston.
The judge had spoken, and my part in the Penge Bungalow trial was over.
Excuse me, sir. This way,
Mr. Rumpole, how can I ever thank you?
No need, absolutely no need at all.
Well done, Rumpole. Well done indeed. Are you walking back to Chambers? I know Daddy wants a serious word with you.
Hilda and I walked from Ludgate Circus up to the temple. I was bursting with pride, ready to sink a whole bottle of Chateau Thames Embankment in Pomeroy's. A serious talk with Hilda's daddy in his room in Chambers seemed a poor sort of celebration.
Don't worry about it. It's just one of those formalities we have to go through.
It was Hilda's use of the word we that I found a little confusing. She peeled off at the entrance to Equity Court.
Best of luck!
That was a good win, Mr. Rumpole. A truly remarkable win.
Thank you, Albert. I must
As
say...
a clerk with some 30 years in the temple, can I advise you not to boast?
I have to confess I was disappointed. I had been looking forward to a good many years of boasting.
When you see Mr. Whiston, try not to exaggerate the part you played in the case.
Can you exaggerate the part played by Hamlet, Prince of Denmark? He's not just a spear carrier, is he?
I don't think you'll find Mr. Whiston has any great interest in Hamlet, Prince of Denmark.
I was about to discover that Albert was absolutely right. But my interview with C.H. Whiston took a course which came as a complete surprise.
I must say, you were a considerable help.
To Simon? Yes. You might even say I saved his life.
I mean, you were a considerable help to me. As you know, I had other commitments which prevented me from leading.
Other commitments? I thought you were sacked for useless inactivity quite early in the proceedings.
Was what I didn't say?
Oh, of course. Yes. Other commitments.
Was what I did say.
I ought to point out, however, that your cross-examination of the chief prosecution witness invited criticism. To accuse a witness of murder on what seemed to be pretty slender evidence is not in the finest traditions of the bar. It's not the sort of thing a leading barrister would do.
It did, however, cause the chief prosecution witness to do a runner.
Do a runner? Really, Rumpole, your language has been infected by the criminal practice you seem determined to pursue.
Would you prefer he melted into air, into thin air, and like this insubstantial pageant faded, left not a wreck behind?
Well, yes, I suppose that's a little better. Keats?
Shakespeare, The Tempest.
There is something else we have to discuss. I've just had a long conversation with Hilda. Of course, I've known all about this for a long time.
All about what?
Oh, it seems you two reached an agreement over breakfast in a cafe in Fleet Street.
The Tasty Bite?
Is it? I wouldn't know.
You say we reached an agreement.
You agreed that any sort of familiarity between you and my daughter should be postponed until you were legally married, which was a correct and proper decision.
Married? Did you say married?
Well, of course. What else could you have been discussing? Now, my daughter is strong-minded and persuasive. You may well find in what I hope will turn out to be a happy future for both of you that when Hilda has made up her mind to such and such a thing, it usually happens.
Yes. I imagine that might be so.
It is so, Rumpole. In addition, Hilda has persuaded me that you should remain with us here at Equity Court as a member of the family. And now, dear boy, to celebrate our entirely new relationship, a glass of sherry?
My heart sank as he approached the dusty decanter.
Thank you.
This again was an offer I felt I could not decently refuse.
your father seemed to be discussing marriage. My marriage to you.
Of course, to me. I shouldn't think Daisy Sampson's particularly keen.
No, I suppose she is.
Then you did well to propose.
Remind me, exactly when did I propose?
When we were having breakfast. You told me we shouldn't use those things, those rather what's-its, until we were married. And I understood exactly what you meant. I gave it a lot of serious thought. I realised you're young and inexperienced, and you could probably be quite irritating. But then I remembered all the time and trouble I'd invested.
Time and trouble?
Who got the junior brief for you in R.V. Gerald? Who praised your talent for cross-examination? Who told Daddy to keep you in chambers?
I was still in a high mood after Simon's acquittal. Hilda was quite right. She had offered support all along, and she was unaccountably anxious to spend her life with me. There seemed no particular reason why a brave new world shouldn't have a marriage in it.
Well, Rumpole, tell me what you think.
I think we might as well get married.
Was what I didn't say?
Well, yes, Hilda. Of course.
Was what I did say.
Oh, Rumpole, I'm sure I can make something of you.
And with that, she threw her arms around me and gave me the sort of approving but not yet sensual kiss of those who were now officially engaged.
Oh, for a beaker full of the warm south, full of the true, the blushful hippocrene with beaded bubbles winking at the brim.
Sorry, Mr. Rumpole. Did you want another drink or not?
Oh, I really ought to be heading home.
Right you are, then.
But perhaps one final glass of Chateau Thames Embankment before my evening with Hilda, she who must be obeyed.
Why'd you call her that?
Why? Well, it's a translation of the Arabic phrase used to describe Aisha, the Queen of Death, the white goddess of the lost city.
I'll be right with you, miss. Sorry, Mr. Rumpole.
Oh, it's a long story, and you're busy. Suffice to say, my wife is a woman who expected me to do as I was told, even before we became engaged.
I know the sort. Yes, miss. What can I get you?
All tragedies are finished by a death. All comedies are ended by a marriage. Cheers.
In part 2 of Rumpole and the Penge Bungalow murders by John Mortimer, the elder Horace Rumpole was played by me, Timothy West, and the younger Horace Rumpole was Benedict Cumberbatch. Dr. Phillimore was played by Carl Johnson, Lord Jessup, David Shaw Parker, C.H. Whiston, Geoffrey Whitehead, and Hilda Whiston was Jasmine Hyde. Simon Gerald was Ewan Bailey, Bonnie Bernard, Matthew Morgan, Reggie Proudfoot was Stephen Critchlow, Daisy Emma Fielding, and Peter Benson was Andy de la Tour. Rumpole and the Penge Bungalow Murders was written by John Mortimer, adapted by Richard Stoneman, directed by Marilyn Imrie, and is a Catherine Bailey production for BBC Radio 4.
Rumpole and the Family Pride by John Mortimer, adapted by Richard Stoneman. With me, Timothy West, as the elder Horace Rumpole, and Benedict Cumberbatch as the younger Horace Rumpole.
Father, come quickly.
When I've had my breakfast.
A body. There's a body in the lake.
Jonathan, if this is yet another of your...
An old lady. She's dead.
That old lady was about to lead young Rumpole up north to Yorkshire. It was a rare excursion from my London haunts, and one which I remember to this day, despite the many years that have passed.
I dare say Lord Richard Sackbut, if he is still alive, will never forget the sight of the drowned corpse floating in his lake that morning. I'm sure it was enough to put his lordship off his breakfast. 3 weeks later, my own breakfast was about to be interrupted, though in slightly less dramatic circumstances.
Oh, do look at this tragic picture, Rumpole.
Despite being married for only a few years, Hilda and I had already fallen into the habit of conducting the first meal of the day in semi-silence. Semi in the sense that I remained silent, while Hilda insisted on reading out titbits from such fascinating journals as Coronet magazine.
It's Lady Fiona Armstead. Her romance with Robin French Uffington is over.
Unable to feign interest of any kind, I replied with a comment on the committal papers I was reading for a case in the Thames Magistrates' Court.
Mr. Wally Wilkinson has confessed to the murders of 3 young men in Southwark.
Lord Luxter's put on weight.
Oh, please, Hilda, do you actually know any of these people?
You can read all about them in Debbie's diary.
You can read all about them. I have no intention of ever doing so.
Well, you should, Rumpole. Then you might learn about gracious living. You might lose the habit of blowing on your tea to cool it down.
I'm in a hurry. Do you expect me to fan my tea with my hat?
No, I expect... Oh, look. It's Sackbut Castle.
Is it really? How fascinating.
The 17th Baron Sackbut occupies the private wing with his second wife, Rosemary, née Whiston. Whiston, Rumpole. Whiston.
Am I supposed to know this woman?
You do know a Whiston.
Do I? I'm sure I remember.
What's my name?
She who must... I mean, Hilda.
Hilda what?
Hilda Rumpole, since we got married.
Oh, and before that.
Oh, I see. It was Whiston. You're Hilda née Whiston. A Whiston who once was no more.
I knew Rosemary would turn up in the coronet sooner or later. She's the youngest child of Hungerford Whiston and my first cousin, once removed. And now she's all over the coronet. Isn't that so very exciting, Rumpole?
I'll try to get Wally released. Ah, no bloodstains on his clothes. I think I can get my teeth into.
I'm sure no one at Sackbut Castle eats breakfast wearing a hat.
In the far-off days of 1956, there were hats aplenty in the canteen of the Thames Magistrates' Court. Even my colleague from Chambers, Liz Probert, kept her wig on as she sipped her cup of coffee.
Oh, come on, Rumpole. You're not going to object, are you?
If I'm on my feet, I'll probably be objectionable in some way or another.
On what grounds can you possibly apply for Wally's release?
Ask not what I'm going to do, Miss Probert. Just watch me in court.
I fought that committal for 3 days in court, but I knew it was a hopeless case. After Wally was sent for trial, I came out of court to find a victorious Liz Probert sitting on a bench in the entrance hall, looking rather disconsolate. I tried to cheer her up.
Bravo! You won the day. Next step, the Old Bailey.
I suppose so.
A sad little sigh was not what I was used to from this radical Welsh firebrand. I inquired after her ongoing, off-going boyfriend.
Have you seen Dave Inchcape lately? We're co-defending an affray together, and I'd like
I've no idea where Dave bloody Inchcape is. You'll have to find him yourself.
Liz, what on earth's the matter?
Absolutely nothing's the matter.
You don't usually burst into tears when you win a case.
Oh, why should you assume I burst into tears? Because I'm a woman?
No, it's more to do with the fact that you have actually burst into tears. Has something happened between you and Dave?
Oh, if I'm upset, it must be about a man. Men are the only things women have got to be upset about, aren't they?
Hanky?
Thank you. Actually, it is about Dave bloody Inchcape.
What's he done now?
It's not what he's done, it's what he is.
Secretly married?
That I could cope with. This? Well, it's too awful for words.
Mr. Rumpole, sir.
What is it, Constable?
It's your wife.
Oh, God, where?
On the phone.
Oh, thank heavens. You'll be all right if I...
Don't worry about me, Rumpole.
But I did worry about Liz Probert and Dave Bloody Inchcape, even as I listened to She Who Must Be Obeyed on the telephone in the police room.
Rosemary, my cousin, once removed. You remember I told you about Rosemary? Well, she wants us to pop up for the weekend to Sackbut Castle.
3 weeks ago, when Lord Richard Sackbut and his second wife, Rosemary, followed young Jonathan through the grounds of the castle, they found the body of an elderly woman face down in the lake. A large string bag was attached to her wrist. Photographs taken at the scene showed a broad-cheeked face which might once have been pretty. The police, the ambulance, the pathologist, and Lord Sackbut gathered at the castle, where they were joined by Dr. Hugo Swaby, the local coroner.
Good morning, my lord. I thought it best to get my inquiries going as soon as possible. Have you seen the body?
Of course I have, Swaby. My son found the woman dead. He called me out to the lake. What more do you need?
I'm afraid I need to know if it's anyone you recognize.
Of course it's not. Stupid bloody question.
Sackbut Castle was built to defend a large area of North Yorkshire. It had been besieged 3 times during the Wars of the Roses. After that, it remained peaceful, until the 17-year-old Jonathan Sackbut, on holiday from Eton, took the family Labrador for an early run by the lake. As we staggered from the taxi into the main hall of Sackbut Castle, an attendant stepped forward.
Leave your luggage there. The rest of the party's gone upstairs.
We climbed the wide stone staircase and found ourselves in a great hall with narrow windows, bare of furniture except for suits of armour, and brutal-looking weapons arranged in great circles on the walls. In the distance, we saw a group of people, and a man in a dark suit who was waving to us.
Over here, my party.
Why is he calling us my party, Rumpole?
All right, everybody. So, looking through here, you'll get a good view of the East Tower.
Is the family about?
I'm sorry, madam?
Are they here? The Sackbuts?
Well, I believe Lord and Lady Sackbut are in residence at the moment. They occupy the East Wing, which was built in 1592.
This way, Rumpole.
Madam, no. That part of the castle is not open to the public.
We are not the public.
In a drawing room upstairs, high windows opened onto the terrace of the castle. A pale boy was sitting alone in a window seat, reading a book.
Hello. We're the Rumpoles. I believe Rosemary's expecting...
She's not here. There's only me.
Are you Jonathan? Well, I'm Hilda Rumpole, and this is my husband.
Horace Rumpole, pleased to meet you.
I'm Rosemary's cousin.
Once removed.
So we're related. You and I, in a manner of...
Hilda! Is that you?
Oh, Rosemary, there you are.
Oh, hello.
Oh, and you must be Horace.
I fear I have no alternative.
Oh, Jonathan, I hope you've been entertaining the Rumpoles.
Not really. I'm going to my room, trying to get some privacy.
Sorry about Jonathan. Let's see if we can't rustle up some refreshments. Oh, you know, Rosemary, it was so funny when we arrived. They treated us like members of the public. Wasn't it funny, Rumpole?
Hilarious.
Would you like a cup of tea, Horace?
Only if you have nothing in the nature of a bottle of red.
Rumpole. No, Hilda. Let Horace have a drink, if he needs one. You must be exhausted after all those splendid cases you do. Splendid cases? Daddy saw you in action at the Old Bailey, said you were absolutely superb.
Well, I can be rather magnificent at times.
Daddy told us in the courtroom nobody dares say boo to Rumpole. In the courtroom, perhaps?
I
heaven's sake. Will this do?
No, of course it won't. A bow tie is not supposed to dangle from your neck at an angle of 45 degrees.
Does it really matter?
Of course it matters. We have to look our best.
But why, Hilda?
Because everyone else will look their best. They'll all dress for dinner. We're in a castle, Rumpole.
Are we really? I hadn't noticed.
Lord Plunger Plumstead's coming.
Why Plunger? Does he dive?
He lost all his money on the stock exchange, nearly threw himself off the top of St. Paul's. Really, Rumpole, you ought to keep up with what's going on with these people.
What was going on with these people, apparently, was that no one, apart from us, had dressed for dinner. Lord Sackbut had finally appeared, and turned out to be a man in his late 40s, whose long chin, gingery hair and blue eyes were echoed in all the family portraits we'd seen around the castle. For some reason, he seemed extremely glad to see me.
It is jolly sporting of you to come all the way to Yorkshire to offer me some free advice.
Advice?
Free advice, yes. Of course, there'll be opportunities for fun and games, too. I shan't keep you away from my chums all the time.
His chums were a rum-looking bunch. Lord Plunger Plumstead devoured his food as if he hadn't eaten for days. His wife Mercia appeared to be embalmed and never spoke. Tarquin and Helen Yarrowby talked in very loud voices about people I didn't know and of sports of which I had no experience.
Just so Adolfo wouldn't win.
Towards the end of dinner, they began to discuss the local coroner, Dr. Hugo Swaby.
He's enjoying every moment of this business. Best thing that ever happened to the ghastly little man.
Plunger was not a fan of Dr. Swaby.
You should see him out hunting, Rumpole. Looks like a dog's dinner.
As does the poor fox, I imagine.
Did you hear, Mr. Rumpole, about the accident in the lake?
Oh, yes, Helen, that's why he's here.
Some old woman managed to drown herself.
Is Swaby going to be a pain in the neck about that?
He wants to get his name in the papers. He thinks he'll discover all sorts of things. It's a bore.
I don't see how you can be held responsible for anything, old man. I mean, most people have some kind of lake, don't they, Rumpole?
Ours is rather small. Living as we do in the Gloucester Road, it's more of a puddle.
Really?
Perhaps the lady should leave us to our port now.
I say, Rumpole, can you get your gamekeepers to eat rook?
To tell you the truth, I don't have any gamekeepers, or rooks, come to that.
But you have a place in Gloucester.
Actually, no, we have a place...
Rosemary was telling me you've had some success with your cases.
I suppose I have acquired a certain reputation around the cells of Brixton.
And some of your cases concern dead people.
Contrary to popular belief, dead people can tell you quite a lot.
Can they? Can they really?
From his distant gaze, I could see Lord Sackbut was preoccupied with thoughts. Thoughts of what? Nothing he felt he could share with the likes of me. But I wondered, why ever not?
Oh, Rumpole, can't you hang your trousers in the wardrobe rather than leaving them on the floor?
I have no time to waste, Hilda. Any moment now I might freeze to death. Where are my pyjamas?
On the chair behind you.
Are you going to join me? God knows, I need some kind of bodily warmth.
Budge up, then. You just lie there in the middle. Oh. I wonder what's planned for tomorrow. A shooting party, perhaps? Or an alfresco luncheon?
Have you not yet grasped why we're here, Hilda? We've been invited to this underheated, over-decorated pile so that I, Horace Rumpole, can provide legal service gratis pro bono and free of charge to Lord Richard Sackbut.
Nonsense. Oh, you're forgetting that Rosemary and I are cousins.
Once removed.
We're here to enjoy ourselves, Rumpole.
Are we?
In the morning, yes. Now lights out and go to sleep.
The next morning, with nothing much to do as I waited for my first conference with his lordship, I looked around the house. At the end of the row of family portraits, I saw the image of a man identical to our host, clearly Richard's father, a long-chinned, blue-eyed, gingery-haired army officer. I returned down the passage to the part of the castle open to the public.
Hello. I'm Hugo Swaby, doctor. Hugo Swaby. I believe we met, Mr. Rumpole.
Did we?
You came up to Leeds for that stabbing in the old people's home. I was an expert witness.
Oh, yes, you were indeed a witness. You gave some extraordinary evidence on the direction of the knife wounds.
Thank you very much. You're staying with the Sackbutts, I gather? To tell the truth, I've never been invited to the other side of that door, though I do ride with the hunt, and I'm pretty well known in the neighbourhood. So, his lordship invited you to stay?
Actually, it was his wife.
No, it must have been his lordship. Women don't make decisions in the Sackbutt clan. Are you here for the old lady?
I'm sorry?
The one who tumbled into the lake. My officer's taking statements as we speak. I thought I'd wander round, soak up the castle atmosphere.
You're not here to see my client?
Oh, is his lordship your client? This will be exciting. I think I'll be able to offer you a few surprises.
Such as?
The dead woman's possessions contain some old clothes, an empty gin bottle, and a purse, the contents of which were rather interesting.
In what way?
Apart from a return train ticket to London, which suggests she wasn't local, there was also a photograph taken on the terrace of this very castle. An old photograph. Shows a woman holding a baby next to a man in uniform. No doubt who the man was. Lord Sackbutt's father. Now, how do you imagine the dead woman got hold of that photograph, Mr. Rumpole?
I had no idea. And as I inspected the lake the next morning, I was not given much help by Lord Sackbutt.
Why call on my expert services for a case in which an old lady simply slipped and drowned in your grounds? Sad, but hardly a threat to your peace of mind.
We're open to the public. They might think we're not safe.
Oh, nonsense. What's the real problem? What's making Dr. Swaby, the Grand Inquisitor of Weldyke, so excited?
It's starting to rain. We'd better get back to the castle.
My client said nothing more about Dr. Swaby or the old lady. He just promised me a treat for the afternoon. A dog show, a tombola, and other delights in the castle grounds. It sounded like a fate worse than death. A comment that I kept to myself as I left Lord Sackbutt and approached his son in the drawing room.
Tinkled like iron, while far distant hills into the tumult sent an alien sound.
Jonathan was alone, as usual, sitting on his window seat with a book.
While the stars eastward
were sparkling clear, and in the west the orange sky of evening died away. You like that?
Well, the sound of it, yes.
I like the sound of it very much. Wordsworth.
I know.
I sat at the fireside, in front of a big coffee table, piled high with photograph albums.
You live here in the holidays with your father?
Yes.
See much of your mother? Your real mother, I mean, not Rosemary.
No.
No? Ah, now look at this. Here's a photograph of someone I assume to be your grandfather. Looks just like your father. Why all these blank pages? These torn out photographs, these attempts to hide something or someone?
I don't know what you're talking about.
The stalls and tents of the fete were set out on a patch of grass under the east tower. She who must had gone off to buy a huge selection of jams, and I was chatting to Rosemary.
Young Jonathan, I gather he doesn't see much of his mother.
Richard thinks it's best if he doesn't. She married again, someone quite ghastly.
Who was that?
Oh, a rather fat little man who sold cars for a living.
Cars? How awful.
I know. They have a small house in Croydon or somewhere equally impossible. I mean, can you imagine that? Croydon, after living here in the castle. Rosemary! Oh, Bunty, hello. Oh, would you excuse me for a moment, Horace?
Of course.
Oh, Bunty, I was so hoping you'd be here.
Come along, Rumpole. I've just seen a shirtless man with a grey, long-haired Yorkshire Terrier. His chest looks identical.
Identical to what?
The Yorkshire Terrier, of course.
She's alive and well and living in Croydon.
Who is?
Richard's first wife. I knew it wasn't her they found in the lake. The dead body was far too old to
Do
be...
look at that ugly woman with the Pekingese. She deserves to go home with something.
In the end, the prize went to Plunger and his bull terrier.
Jolly well done, sir.
Yes, no need to make a fuss.
No, I think we should. Raise a glass, toast your success. That beer tent over there looks like a suitable venue for a quiet celebration.
Amazing the way dogs can look so much like their owners.
Quite.
In the same way men grow up to be reproductions of their fathers.
Oh, you think so? Well, I suppose Richard is the spitting image of his father.
Did you know Richard's mother?
It always seemed a perfectly nice woman. A bit affected, perhaps. I remember she used to call Richard Le Petit Richard. With a sort of funny French accent.
What was her name, Richard's mother?
Margaret, yes. We called her Maggie.
And what happened to Maggie?
Maggie? She died.
I suppose I must have been 9.
After dinner that night, Rosemary and Hilda left the men to sip some sickly port by ourselves.
The message came through. The headmaster wants to see you in his study after prayers. He told me to close the door, sit down, and then... I'm afraid your mother's dead.
Did your headmaster or your father tell you how your mother died?
No. I heard vague rumours that she might have gone to France, and then she just passed away.
You believed your father? That your mother was dead?
Of course.
Do you have any idea how old she'd be now, if she'd lived?
I suppose late 60s?
Much like the lady in the lake.
What?
Did it never occur to you that your mother might try to get in touch one day?
What do you mean? Come back from the dead?
If she really is dead.
Of course she's dead.
For a while, I feared my questions had offended Lord Sackbut. But only a week later, he appeared in London with his wife in tow, and insisted on taking She Who Must to the opera. Despite my objections, I was forced to join the party in Covent Garden. I turned up in blazer and grey flannels. The Sackbuts were, of course, in evening dress.
I say, Rumpole, I think I've got a young relative in your chambers. David Luxter. His grandfather was Lord Chancellor, and his father's my cousin.
I'm afraid we have no one called Luxter in chambers.
Oh. He did an odd thing. Didn't want to rely on his grandfather's reputation, so he went into the law under an alias. He found a name he rather liked in some poem or other. Something about a bell and a rock.
Not the Inchcape Rock.
That's the one. Inchcape.
Dave Inchcape. Born the son of a lord? No wonder Liz Probert, that despiser of all things aristocratic, felt betrayed. Mr. Cursiter had been the Sackbut family solicitor for 38 years. When I spoke to him on the telephone, the timbre of his voice suggested he hadn't enjoyed a single one of them.
Tell me, Mr. Cursiter, were you ever privy to information that confirmed the death of Lord Sackbut's mother?
Yes.
When the previous Lord Sackbut died, if Richard's mother had still been alive, would you have expected her to make some claim against the estate?
Oh, no. Lord Sackbut, Richard's father, started divorce proceedings long before his wife ran off with her man friend.
Oh, I see.
The case went through undefended.
Oh.
When Lord Sackbut died, if Richard's mother had been alive, which she wasn't, she had no claim to anything.
Who was this man friend she ran off with?
Some kind of waiter.
Oh.
French. There were rumours they were living in Paris.
Paris?
Rumours he died, rumours Richard's mother came back to England. But that's all they were. Just rumours.
Even so, Mr. Cursiter, I wonder if you'd be so kind as to place an advertisement for me in the Times. And the Daily Telegraph.
Deceased in situ and then post-mortem. I concluded there was no sign...
In a coroner's court, the coroner calls for witnesses and asks the questions.
If I can just stop you there for a moment, Dr. Malkin.
Dr. Swaby was putting a pathologist called Malkin through his paces.
Can you please use layman's language?
I was merely trying to say that the deceased, the dead woman, was in her late 60s or early 70s, in poor general health. I came to the conclusion that death was probably caused by a blow to the head with some blunt instrument before the body entered the water. I didn't think it was a case of death by drowning because there was no water in the lungs.
Might death have been caused by a deliberate attack? A blow to the head by some assailant?
I thought it might.
Struck before the body was put into the lake?
Yes.
Which would make this an unlawful killing, or, to use a word with which the jury might be more familiar, murder.
I couldn't rule out that possibility.
Mr. Rumpole, do you wish to apply to ask the pathologist a question?
A good many questions, as a matter of fact.
Then I shall grant your application.
How very generous, sir. Dr. Malkin, in a case of drowning, it's possible for death to occur immediately due to a sudden cardiac arrest. It's happened in the case of people falling off ships, yes?
I believe it has happened, yes.
Such deaths have often occurred with drunken sailors. They fall off the deck and the alcohol produces a state of hypersensitivity to sudden and unexpected contact with water.
It may do so.
The dead lady in question had an almost empty bottle of gin in her possession.
Yes.
So it remains a possibility, does it not, that she met her death by drowning?
It is a possibility, yes.
Dealing with the blow to the head, this was a particularly steep bit of bank with a number of branches and tree stumps, on some of which traces of blood were found.
Yes.
Can you rule out the possibility that this old lady, having drunk rather more gin than was good for her, slipped and fell into the lake, striking her head on one of those tree stumps as she fell?
I can't rule that out altogether.
Thank you. It seems at last we have reached a sensible interpretation of the facts. Dr.
Malkin, we gather from your evidence that this blow to the head might have been accidental or it might have been deliberate. Is that right?
Quite right, sir.
You, of course, didn't go into the circumstances in which someone might have had a motive for causing the death of this old lady.
I object to that question. How can Dr. Malkin possibly answer it?
He can't, Mr. Rumpole. That will be the subject of the next part of my investigation, and I know you will wish to help me with it. Dr. Malkin, thank you. We would now like to ask Mr. Saggers a few questions.
Mr. Saggers was the attendant at the west gate of Sackbut Castle, who took charge of our luggage when we first arrived. He was a solid Yorkshire man, clearly reliable, and he turned out to be a devastating witness.
Mr. Saggers, the lady in that photograph, do you recognise her at all?
I do recognise the lady, Your Worship. The day before they found her, she came up to the castle entrance and asked to go inside. I asked her for the entrance fee. She said she'd got no money, and his lordship would want to see her for free. So I told her to bugger off.
And did she?
What?
Did she depart?
I saw her walking away, yes.
At what time?
3:30, just before my tea break. Then, as I was passing the formal gardens, I saw them.
You saw who?
The old lady and his lordship.
What were they doing?
Just talking. I watched for a bit, then I went in for my tea.
Very sensible. Have you any questions, Mr. Rumpole?
If you'd be so kind as to allow a further application.
Of course.
I really am much obliged. Mr. Saggers, before you went for your tea break, how long did you see those two people together?
Half a minute.
Could you actually see Lord Sackbut's face? Could you see it clearly?
It was definitely his lordship.
Will you at least accept the possibility that you might have been mistaken?
No, Mr. Rumpole. I won't accept that possibility. I know what I saw.
Preparing for bed in Sackbut Castle, I voiced my fears to she who must.
Richard's going to lie in court tomorrow. I think he spoke to the old lady by the lake, but he's going to say he didn't.
Richard wouldn't do that.
Why not? Because he's a lord? Because he lives in a castle? People have been telling lies here since the Wars of the Roses. Telling lies and locking up their wives or tearing their wives' photographs out of the family albums. Behaving like that because their fathers behaved like that.
Finished? Good. Lights out.
And nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Lord Sackbut, having sworn to tell the truth, I wonder if you'd like to start by describing to us your first meeting with the deceased.
First time I saw the old girl was after her body was dragged from the water.
So Mr. Saggers was lying?
I'm not saying that.
Mr. Saggers said you were talking to the old girl in the grounds of the castle.
He was mistaken.
The jury will have to make up their minds who's telling the truth on that point. Lord Sackbut, your father left your mother when you were just a young boy.
I fail to see the relevance.
Mr. Rumpole, I think this is relevant and indeed might have a great deal to do with the case. Lord Sackbut, did your father tell you that your mother was dead?
Yes.
Why?
Because she was dead.
But how did you know that?
Because my father said so. He told my headmaster.
Did it ever occur to you that your father was so angry with your mother, who was conducting an affair with a French waiter, that he pretended she'd died?
It didn't occur to me that my father would ever tell a lie, no.
Are you unaware there have been many rumours in your family and in the town that your mother did not die, as your father said, but until quite recently was alive and well and living in Paris?
I never heard such rumours. Anyway, they would have been untrue.
This is becoming intolerable. Lord Sackbut's here to give evidence, not to deal with tittle-tattle.
Please don't excite yourself, Mr. Rumpole. Can we look at the photograph, Exhibit 3, showing Lord Sackbut's father in uniform sitting on the castle terrace with a woman and a baby? We have heard evidence that this photograph was found in the string bag attached to the wrist of the lady in the lake. Shall we look at this exhibit, your lordship?
If we must.
Is that the terrace of Sackbut Castle?
Yes.
And is the man in uniform your father?
It is my father.
There's also a woman with a baby. Is that woman your mother?
I really can't say.
You mean you can't remember what your own mother looked like?
No. Not very clearly, no.
I suggest to you that this is a family group. Your father, your mother, and yourself as a very young child.
I suppose that's a possibility.
Or a probability. Can you tell the jury why the old lady who drowned had that photograph in her possession when she came to visit Sackbut Castle?
How on earth can my client answer that question?
Perhaps, Mr. Rumpole, he could deduce that the lady Lord Sackbut's father said was dead was one and the same with the lady they fished out of the lake.
What?
In a fit of wounded pride, Lord Sackbut's father made out that his wife had died.
I object to that. There is not a scrap of evidence.
Oh, but there is, Mr. Rumpole. There is a photograph. So, let me put this final point to his lordship. My lord, if this lady was the Dowager Lady Sackbut, she'd hardly be a welcome visitor at the castle, would she? After all that time, she'd come, no doubt, with a claim for money. Did it occur to you, my lord, that she might be better dead, as your father had wished so many, many years ago?
No.
His lordship
absolutely
rejected the
not.
suggestion entirely, but sadly I had the feeling the jury hadn't warmed to Lord Sackbut. In the middle of the afternoon, though, the family solicitor, Mr. Cursiter, told me that he had some interesting news, and I asked Dr. Swaby to adjourn the case until the next morning.
Mr. Rumpole, you've asked me to take the evidence of this witness, Mrs. Percier, but I have no idea what light, if any, she can shed on this case.
Then let me assist you, sir. Mrs. Percier is here now, so let her come in and give evidence.
The door of the courtroom opened, and a woman dressed in black, fair hair touched in grey, entered the witness box.
It may help us all if I explain straight away that Percier was not always the surname of this witness.
What was your name before you married Mr. Percier, Mrs. Percier?
It was Lady Sackbut.
And your son is...
Richard, the current Lord Sackbut.
Am I supposed to understand that this lady is your client?
His mother, sir.
I still don't know what evidence she can give.
Then perhaps it might be best if I carried on. I think the story should become clear. Even to you, old darling.
Very well, Mr. Rumpole, you may carry on.
Mrs. Percier, am I right in thinking it's been quite a few years since you last saw your son, Richard?
I'm afraid so, yes.
When Monsieur Percier was alive, I think you lived in Paris?
My husband and I run a small hotel there. When he died a few years ago, I sold it and came back to England.
To where in England?
To London. I live in Bloomsbury.
In front of you, there's a small bundle of papers and photographs. Would you be so kind as to glance at Exhibit 5, a photograph of a woman?
This one?
You have it. Good. Since you lived in Bloomsbury, I believe you've been involved with the Salvation Army.
I do what I can. Some money, a little time, nothing very much.
But you've helped to find beds for people with no homes to go to.
A few.
Including the woman in the photograph you're holding?
Yes. That's Bertha.
Bertha?
When I first met her, she was sleeping at the back of Waterloo Station. I let her stay with me one night when we couldn't find her a bed anywhere else in London. She told me about her husband, a builder. He went to prison for fraud. And I told her about Sackbut Castle and my son. I'm not sure why I did that.
This Bertha, she stayed the night in your house and left the next morning?
Yes. I never saw her again.
Was anything missing when she left?
Actually, yes. A photograph. I'd shown it to Bertha when we were talking that only night. I kept it in a desk. When Bertha left, the photograph went with her. I was very cross with her for stealing that.
I understand. Could you now look at Exhibit 3, near the front of your bundle? And can you tell me if that's the photograph you lost to Bertha all those years ago?
I think... yes. I think it is the same photograph.
Who are the people in the group?
My first husband, myself, and Richard when he was a baby.
Did Richard ever hit you over the head with a blunt instrument and push you into a lake?
Oh, of course not. Though I wouldn't have blamed him if he'd wanted to.
After that, Dr. Swaby couldn't think of very much to ask Madame Percier. The inquest was virtually over, and the verdict inevitable. She who must read all about it in the Times and the Telegraph.
The jury in the Sackbut Castle inquest returned a verdict of accidental death. But you said Richard was lying in court.
Oh, I'm pretty sure Bertha waylaid him in the garden, told him she had some news, asked for money. He sent her away. She went back towards the castle full of gin, unsteady on her pins. Splosh. Perhaps Richard had a secret fear that Bertha was his mother. But that would mean his father was a liar. So he pretended he didn't have the faintest idea who she was.
That wasn't very nice.
People aren't very nice, especially if they're lords. Luckily, his real mother reads the Daily Telegraph.
Luckily?
Can I tell you? I got Richard's solicitor to put an advert in the personal column. Le Petit Richard wants to see his maman. Very urgent.
Poor woman.
The Rumpole residence? Ah, Miss Probert, how are you today? Oh, really? Why is that?
The call was from Liz Probert.
I see.
She was off to court early and wanted to let me know that the prosecution was offering no evidence against Wally Wilkinson.
Well, thanks for letting me know. Can I buy you a drink this evening? There's something I'd like to discuss. Yes? Oh, good. See you then.
Rumpole, I don't think we'll go back to Sackbut Castle.
Hilda, I don't think we'll be invited.
Here we are, Liz.
No champagne?
I think some Chateau Thames embankment should suffice.
Aren't we celebrating your client's acquittal?
We are discussing your boyfriend, Dave Bloody Inchcape.
He's my ex-boyfriend, and I've absolutely nothing to say about the bastard.
Liz, I'm aware of his alias, the Honourable David Luxter.
The Honourable. It's disgusting when there's kids in my old village walking to school without shoes.
And you think the Honourable David Luxter had it easy?
Of course he did.
You're wrong. He was cursed with having Lord Luxter as a grandfather. David was a deprived child.
What?
They're all deprived, Liz. All the lords and ladies and marquises of whatnot. They turn their sons out of the home at a tender age. They put them into the care of some sort of borstal like Eton. They lie to them and tell them their mothers are dead. The dice are loaded against the young of the upper crust.
Maybe they are.
Dave needs your support, your help, your love.
In a sense, I suppose. He has been deprived. Life. It's not really fair, is it, Rumpole?
Liz, have you only just realised? Fair seed time had my soul, and I grew up, fostered alike by beauty and by fear, much favoured in my birthplace.
You drunk already, Rumpole?
I'm reciting Wordsworth, a favourite poet of the Honourable Jonathan Sackbut, a boy born into wealth and privilege, with as much chance of finding true happiness as, well, as the rest of us poor sods. Cheers.
In Rumpole and the Family Pride, by John Mortimer, the elder Horace Rumpole was played by me, Timothy West, and the younger Horace Rumpole was Benedict Cumberbatch. Jonathan Sackbut was played by Joshua Maguire, Lord Richard Sackbut, Julian Wadham, Hilda Rumpole, Cathy Sarah, and Liz Probert was Elaine Claxton. Dr. Swaby was Adrian Scarborough, Rosemary Sackbut, Sophie Thompson, Lord Plunger Plumstead, Stephen Critchlow, Dr. Malkin, Geoffrey Whitehead, and Mrs. Percier was Susan Woolridge. Other parts were played by members of the company. Rumpole and the Family Pride was adapted by Richard Stoneman, directed by Marilyn Imrie, and is a Catherine Bailey production for BBC Radio 4.
This video was uploaded to the channel Thinking Out Louder. Please like, comment and subscribe to the Thinking Out Louder channel. Thank you.
Rumpole and the Eternal Triangle by John Mortimer, adapted by Richard Stoneman. With me, Timothy West, as the elder Horace Rumpole, and Benedict Cumberbatch as the younger Horace Rumpole. I seem to remember that it was late June 1956, a hot night, and we'd been taken by Claude Erskine Brown to listen to the Castorini Trio.
I realized the female violinist was very good-looking. Hair of a reddish gold, and her face was heart-shaped. She seemed to be smiling at me.
Excuse me, what can I get you, Erskine Brown?
I think, tomato juice? What I wanted was a large glass of Chateau Thames Embankment. Not much chance of that in a small pub tucked away in a mews off Wigmore Street, packed with fans of chamber music and, as it turned out, some musicians.
I was sure it was you.
I'm sorry?
Elizabeth Castorini, the fiddle player. Surely you remember. We met some time ago.
Did we?
I can't believe you've forgotten me.
And you would be quite wrong to believe that, because, of course, I haven't forgotten you.
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth. Absolutely.
I'd love to meet up again. Perhaps somewhere quieter than this. Would that be possible?
Well, Let me think.
I was faced with the very earliest stages of a dilemma. Did I really want to be blown off course by this siren voice?
Yes, sir. What can I get you?
The barman gave me his attention at a most inconvenient moment. At the same time, the pianist from the trio came over and put his arm around the beautiful violin player, who happened to be his wife.
Come on, Elizabeth, we've got to go.
You'll ring me, Mr. Rumpole. A Wimbledon 5564.
And then she was gone. I pulled out a pencil and made a note on my programme.
What are you writing there, Rumpole?
Oh, just wanted to remember the name of that tune they were playing. What was it again?
Schubert's Piano Trio, No. 1 in B-flat major. But it's printed all over the programme.
Ah, maybe it was. But what I'd written down was Wimbledon 5564. It was a week later, a long, dull week doing a post office fraud in Acton, when I felt driven, for the sake of adding a little colour to my life, to dial that number on my programme. Elizabeth Castorini answered at once, in the soft, out-of-breath voice I kept hearing in my head.
I was going to ring you if you hadn't rung me.
Jolly good. Well, what about a spot of lunch, then?
Of course. I'd love to.
Oh, good.
We fixed on lunch at Rules for the next Thursday. On the morning of the assignation, I called in at Alfredo's barber shop in Fetter Lane for a shave and a trim.
There we are, Mr. Rumpole. All done, sir.
Very neat and tidy, thank you.
And will you try a little fragrancy?
What exactly are you suggesting, Alfred?
An American, rather manly perfume. Old Spice. Very you, if I may say so, sir. Our younger customers insist it does wonders for your quality of life. May I splash a little?
Oh. Splash away, then. It was a day when caution was to be thrown to the wind. Oh, yes.
Rules in Maiden Lane was one of the few places in London where you could still find a decent steak and kidney pudding in 1956.
Your usual table, Mr. Rumpole?
Yes, I'm meeting some... there she is.
When I turned up at 1:03, Elizabeth was already waiting.
Sorry I'm late.
Don't be silly.
Smelling of fresh fields, while I had the uneasy feeling that I was giving off the odour of a cut-price dance hall in Brooklyn.
Well, now, I don't know what you'd like, steak and kidney, or rare beef, or Irish stew.
You don't eat meat, do you?
Has been known.
Mr. Rumpole?
Horace, please.
Horace? Really?
Yes, I'm afraid so.
Ready to order, sir, madame?
Oh, I think so, yes.
What about a selection of fresh vegetables?
Well, if you really think...
I had, after all, come to see her and not the roast pheasant.
Just vegetables for you, sir?
Of course.
The waiter took our meat-free order and disappeared to the kitchen. Elizabeth leant towards me.
You look very nice.
So do you.
You strike me as being someone full of love.
Love? Well, yes, I suppose I can love people, with a few exceptions. Mr. Justice Oliphant, for instance, and Sam Ballard. He's the head of our chambers.
What's the matter with Sam? Isn't he lovable?
I wouldn't say that being lovable was one of Soapy Sam's most obvious qualities.
Then love him. That's what he probably needs most in his life.
Have you chosen the wine, sir?
Oh, just about to do so.
Really? Meeting you is quite enough stimulation for me.
Stimulation?
Don't you feel the same way?
Yes. I suppose I do.
Then I'm sure we don't need wine. What's their water like?
I'd never tasted the water in Rules.
A jug of water, please.
Nor anywhere else, come to that.
Excellent choice, sir.
After the waiter had been dispatched to fetch a jug full of this unusual tipple, I asked Elizabeth why she wanted to lunch with me.
Does there have to be a reason?
Well, there usually is.
You say that because you're a lawyer. I admired you so much when you were doing Billy's case. I thought then, and I still think now, that I'd like to get to know you just a little bit better.
Billy's case?
Billy Palmer, from my college. I used to come to court every day to watch you defend him. You must remember.
What could I say? That Billy Palmer rang no bell with me whatsoever? I took the line of maximum politeness.
Of course I remember.
Elizabeth pushed back her hair, looked down at the tablecloth, and confessed.
I've been so lonely.
But you're part of a trio.
We play music together. We play pretty well. But Tom can't seem to accept that I'm married to Desmond.
She began to tell me all about her life with the musicians. Desmond Castorini, the pianist, was her husband. Tom Randall was the hefty athlete astride his cello. Tom, it seemed, was terribly jealous of Desmond, and Desmond was inexcusably suspicious of Tom. In this welter of masculine emotion, Elizabeth felt left out, unconsidered, no more than an object that they were both fighting over. And Desmond made her nervous.
Desmond has this wild blood inside him.
What on earth do you mean?
He's Irish. His father got involved with the Republicans, shot a man in Dublin. Desmond still got the pistol.
What pistol?
The one his father used to shoot the man in Dublin. He gave the gun to Desmond before he went on the run. And Desmond keeps it in our attic, in case his father ever needs it again.
You must get rid of it, Elizabeth. Take the pistol to the police. It's...
No, I couldn't do that. Desmond would never forgive me, and if he got cross, Tom would notice, and then... You see, we're together all the time, the three of us. Sometimes I feel I want to get miles away from both of them. It would help so much if you and I could meet, just occasionally, so I could have someone to talk to.
I don't see why that couldn't be arranged.
I get the feeling that something awful's going to happen. Don't ask me what, exactly.
I looked down and saw a strange sight. Her hand was on mine. It felt cool and comforting, as if there was no weight to it at all. She kept it there for a little while, and I have to confess I felt something. Back in chambers, in the clerk's room, it seemed that other people were also feeling something.
And when I stare into your eyes, those deep pools of lustful promise, and glimpse the soft breasts that lurk beneath your silk blouse, hear the whisper of your stockings when you cross your legs.
You mustn't say those things. You know you mustn't.
What the hell is going on in here? Henry! Get off the floor, man. Oh. The first I heard of this peculiar scene was when I was walking back from the Old Bailey with Soapy Sam Ballard, QC, the alleged head of our chambers.
Ah, Ballard. Just the man I need. You seem flushed, Claude. How can I help?
We're in deep, deep trouble. Good heavens. Someone has been trying to force their amorous advances on a defenseless and innocent young woman. A sexual proposition. In chambers.
When will you ever learn, Claude?
Not me.
Oh, who then?
I'll report further when I've got a full statement from the complainant.
The who?
The girl in question.
Oh, I see.
In my view, we must get her cooperation before we move an inch further. The reputation of 3 Equity Court hangs in the balance.
I couldn't forget my lunch with Elizabeth Castorini. At odd and inappropriate moments during the day, I'd remember the look in her eyes, her faint, apologetic smile, as she laid her hand on mine. I felt there was something a little gross about my existence, compared to the purity of hers.
No chops for me, thank you.
What did you say?
I said no chops for me, thank you. As a matter of fact, I'm giving up meat.
Rumpole, are you feeling quite yourself?
I feel wonderfully well, thank you, Hilda. I'll just take a selection of vegetables.
Boiled potatoes and cabbage. That's the only selection we've got. And what on earth are you putting into your glass?
Water, Hilda. Anything wrong?
Nothing wrong with water. It's just... It's so unlike you, Rumpole.
People should be sufficiently intoxicated with each other. Why do we also need artificial stimulants?
It's very nice of you to say that, Rumpole. Do you notice a rather peculiar smell?
It's an American fragrancy called Old Spice. I acquired a bottle from Alfredo's in Fetter Lane when I popped in for a haircut.
Oh, haircut?
Also got a new hat from Locks. The old one was getting a bit frayed round the edges.
Rumpole, you did all this for me?
Well, it turned into an unusual evening in the mansion flat. As we sat at the kitchen table, I felt Hilda's hand upon mine, and she was looking into my eyes with, well, with affection.
Ah, there you are, Dorothy.
Everyone calls me Doc, Mr. Erskine-Brown.
And everyone calls me Mr. Erskine-Brown. I'm glad you're here all alone, Dot.
Are you, Mr. Erskine-Brown?
Dot, is there anything you'd like to tell me?
But what would you like to know? I could tell you the time. It's 1:25 precisely.
You're young, Dot, and I'm sure this is very embarrassing for you. But nowadays, well, girls of your age are much more open about sex.
Do you mind if I eat my egg and cress?
Not if it makes this easier for you. I'm sure you realise that men do get these urges that come over them from time to time.
I'll take your word for it.
And, of course, you are an extremely attractive young lady.
I'll do my best.
I'm sure you do. The thing is, no man is entitled to show his feelings in the workplace.
I agree with that. We get a short enough lunch break as it is.
Dot, I'd like you to feel that we don't have any secrets from each other.
Really?
You can trust me. And I want you to succeed in equity court. Perhaps rising from typist to junior clerk. Oh. And then, who knows? But for your own sake, tell me what you feel. If you don't cooperate, we can't do anything about it. Now, why don't you just come into my room for a moment?
I don't think so, Mr. Erskine-Brown.
While these events were unfolding in our chambers, a more serious and terrible drama was taking place in the poorly decorated and underheated block near Warren Street Station, where the Castorini trio rented an overpriced rehearsal room. On each floor, reached by an antique lift, there were a number of rooms from which the sound of music was constantly emerging. The Castorinis had a room on the 5th floor. On the 4th, a room was rented by Peter Matheson, a horn player who'd been at college with Elizabeth. At about 6:15, on the evening of June the 28th, 1956, Matheson left his room as Desmond Castorini came down from the floor above.
Hello there, Desmond. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Peter, can you help me?
He seemed extremely agitated and said that something had happened to Tom Randall, the cellist.
It's Tom.
At that stage, Matheson noticed blood on Desmond's cuff.
Is that blood? Oh!
They went upstairs together and into the Castorini's rehearsal room. There, Matheson saw Tom Randall lying on the floor, his clothes blood-stained and his face drained of all colour. He had been shot through the heart. The police arrived on the scene at 7:25. The body was removed to the mortuary, and the room was searched, photographed, and dusted for fingerprints. These proceedings were in the control of Detective Inspector Baker and Detective Sergeant Straw. It was Straw who found, in a space between the wall and the piano, an old Colt revolver, from which one shot had recently been fired. Elizabeth and Desmond Castorini were playing a Brahms sonata in Red Lion Square when the police officers appeared behind the audience.
No. Let's do this quietly, sir.
Detective Inspector Baker arrested Desmond Castorini and told him that he was charged with the murder of Thomas Paul Randall. After I read of the arrest in the Times, I tried to speak to Elizabeth, but there was just the sound of ringing in what I imagined to be an empty room, and no reply. 3 weeks went by, and then she rang me in chambers. She wanted to see me urgently. I'd been wondering when I would see Elizabeth again, and I was ashamed to find myself grateful to a murder for bringing us together. She brushed my cheek with her lips, then took my arm as she steered me into the park.
You will look after Desmond, won't you? I've told him all about the marvellous way you handled Billy's case.
Ah, yes, Billy's case.
It still rang no bells with me.
I want you.
Really?
To defend Desmond.
Oh. In that case, I really ought to send my favourite solicitor, Bonnie Bernard, to take instructions from your husband in prison.
Whatever you say. But can we forget the legal business for a moment? I wanted to see you anyway. I've never felt so terribly alone.
I'm sure.
It's so wonderful to have you on our side. Now I know Desmond's going to be fine.
I can only do my best.
And that will be enough. Can we meet again? Soon?
I'm afraid I'm not supposed to talk to witnesses.
Oh, Horace.
I got another kiss on the cheek, more purposeful than the first, and then she walked quickly away. I watched her go, and kept on watching until she disappeared from view. 1 week later, I found myself in the interview room in Brixton Nick, with Bonnie on my left and across the bare wooden table, a pale and shaking Desmond Castorini.
I've told the police everything I know. You must have read my statement.
Of course we have. But this message, for instance, written on a pad found by the telephone in your flat. Tom rang, wants to meet you at 6 p.m.
Was the message addressed to you or to your wife?
To me, obviously. Elizabeth wrote it. She'd hardly leave a note to herself.
Did you think at this meeting at 6 p.m. Tom was going to tell you that he and your wife were lovers?
No, it never crossed my mind.
Prosecution are going to suggest that you shot Tom Randall in a fit of jealous rage, did you?
I give you my word, Mr. Rumpole.
Any other tensions between you? Financial?
No. Elizabeth's always taken care of that. She has some money, you see, from when her Uncle Max died. He left her a couple of thousand, so we've always been okay.
When your wife was at college, she said I had defended a man called Billy.
Oh, yes, she told me all about that. She and Billy Palmer were friends with another student called Alberman. There was some business with a stolen violin.
Stolen violin. Now that does ring a bell.
I know Alberman went to prison, but Billy got off thanks to your defence.
Why don't I poke around in the archives, Mr. Rumpole, see exactly what happened in that particular case?
Oh, I doubt it'll help us at all. Elizabeth remembers I was an impressive advocate. That's the point.
Even so, perhaps I should, really.
I'd rather you looked into the background of the late Tom Randall. Go through his accounts, check his personal history for any possible enemies, the usual sort of stuff.
If you're quite sure, Mr. Rumpole.
I am, thank you, Mr. Bernard. Now, turning to the murder weapon, you kept a Colt revolver at home with ammunition.
I was just looking after it for my dad. I never used it.
So how did it come to be fired? How did it come to be left behind the piano in the rehearsal room?
Your guess is as good as mine.
I don't wish to guess, Mr. Castorini. On the day that Tom Randall died, you turned up at the rehearsal room at 6 p.m.?
Yes.
And then?
Well, I started walking up the stairs.
When you got to your room, was the door open?
No, it was closed, but not locked.
You found Tom Randall inside?
Lying on the floor. I knelt down and felt his heart. And that's how I got blood on my shirt and hands.
Yes. That will be part of our defence.
Or possibly our entire defence.
Mr. Castorini, I'm sure you realise it's a difficult case.
And we don't need to spell out the consequences if the jury find you...
No, we don't need to spell out the consequences.
I know I might hang, Mr. Rumpole. But I can rely on you. Elizabeth told me you're a wonderful man.
Really? That was very kind of her.
As Bonnie Bernard and I left Brixton Nick, I tried not to think about Elizabeth. I reminded myself it was her husband who required my immediate attention.
Mr. Bernard, have you ever known a villain leave his weapon at the scene of the crime?
Oh, I suppose it's possible Mr. Castorini thought he'd hidden a pistol and intended to come back for it later. I mean, he couldn't walk out of the building with a gun in his hand, could he?
No, I suppose not.
I'm surprised you don't want to know more about the Billy Palmer case.
Well, I doubt it's relevant, that's all.
You're normally so keen to explore every avenue, Mr. Rumpole. Is there some reason you're not trying your hardest to defend Desmond Castorini?
I shan't dignify that outrageous question with an answer, Mr. Bernard.
The outrageous question was, in fact, a perfectly decent one. It took me a little while to answer it, honestly. Thankfully, Bonnie Bernard left no stone unturned. As my instructing solicitor began his investigation, my head of chambers neared the end of his own inquiry.
Come.
I fear I'm making very little progress. Oh. Hello, Rumpole.
Erskine Brown. You were saying?
Well, merely that Dot's giving little away about the propositions from which she's suffered. I can't get her to lodge a formal complaint.
Can you not? Well, she's made a formal complaint to me.
Has she? That's excellent.
Excellent? I'm not so sure. Dorothy Clapton, to give Dot her full name, is extremely worried.
Well, I'm not at all surprised. Henry's behaviour was unforgivable.
Henry? She didn't say a word about Henry.
But then who on earth is she complaining about?
You!
But Ballard...
She said you talked to her about terrible urges.
No, I said I understood those urges. Since we all have them.
Speak for yourself. And you promised to get her promoted to a junior clerkship. No doubt for a certain consideration.
Oh, Ballard, that is a totally unjustified accusation.
You never said it?
Well, I may have said something like it. But what I meant...
No, I want to be perfectly fair to you. I want to give you ample time to consider your defence.
My defence?
This will have to be decided at a full Chambers meeting. Until then, I hope you will have no further conversations with Miss Clapton.
Well, really...
After Claude had left in a state of indignation and dismay, Soapy Sam turned to me with an enigmatic question.
You know what caused the decline and fall of the Roman Empire?
I had to confess I couldn't quite remember.
Lust, Rumpole. And flagrant immorality has reared its head all over this building. I will have to call on everyone to pull themselves together.
I looked at the man. He was undoubtedly a pompous, blinkered, humourless prig. And yet I remembered what Elizabeth Castorini had told me I should feel about Sam. So I tried it out.
I love you, Ballard.
What's that?
I love you with all my heart. I believe it's our duty to love everyone. And because of that, I can only say again, I love you, Ballard.
I'd clearly gone too far and taken Elizabeth's advice too literally. Sam Ballard got up, extremely alarmed.
Another time, perhaps. I have to go. Moral decay everywhere.
As the great proposition inquiry in Chambers came to a head, R.V. Castorini came to trial at the Old Bailey. The proceedings began in a routine manner with the medical evidence, and then Detective Sergeant Straw produced the revolver, which he had found in the rehearsal room.
It was not very well concealed.
Not particularly.
And no fingerprints were found on the weapon?
That is correct.
Let us use our common sense about this, Mr. Rumpole. No doubt whoever did it removed the fingerprint so as to avoid detection. Does that make sense to you, members of the jury? I know it does to me.
So is this your lordship's theory? My client was careful to leave his gun behind, although it could easily be traced to him, but took a lot of trouble clearing off the fingerprints?
Or else wore gloves.
Or else wore gloves. That's a possibility, isn't it, members of the jury?
Mr. Castorini has agreed that the gun was his. Must have been mad to leave it at the scene of the crime, mustn't he?
Mr. Rumpole, you know, we have a saying up north. As notes are queer as folk.
You really, my lord. Down here, in the deep south, were more inclined to look for some sort of logical explanation.
After this preliminary skirmish, my opponent, Christopher Peake, a big, beefy QC with an unnervingly high voice, began to examine the horn player, Peter Matheson.
And I just paused for a moment to empty out my valves when I heard them coming down the stairs.
I'm sorry, Mr. Matheson, you heard who exactly?
Tom Randall and Elizabeth Castorini.
And you heard what they were saying?
Oh, Tom was shouting. I'm going to tell him. I'm going to tell him, and there's only one way to stop me.
I'm going to tell him. No doubt the him was Mr. Castorini, the lady's husband.
My lord, there is no evidence to that effect.
But we can use our common sense, can't we, Mr. Rumpole? Isn't this just another case of the eternal triangle?
At the moment, all we know is that the three people most closely involved were a musical trio. A piano, a violin, and a cello, nothing more.
The judge, and I'm afraid the jury, looked a little sceptical. Nevertheless, I used my cross-examination of the horn player Matheson to try to inject some doubt into minds that were already made up.
Did you hear a shot?
No, I didn't.
And did Desmond Castorini tell you straight away that he'd found Tom Randall dead and he'd no idea who did it?
That's what he told me, yes.
You said, I think, that you were at music college with members of the trio.
Just Tom and Elizabeth. Desmond met them later.
You knew Elizabeth well?
At college, yes. I suppose I was a bit in love with her. Most men were. You can understand that, can't you?
You mustn't ask me questions. Especially not that question. It was far too close to something I'd been asking myself ever since my lunch with Elizabeth. Now was not the time to dwell on my inappropriate feelings for the young lady. Nor on my ambivalent feelings for she who must.
Rumpole! Where are you?
In the kitchen, trying to work.
You're probably wondering why there's nothing on the stove. And nothing in the oven.
Right you are.
Rumpole.
Oh, what is it, Hilda?
Have you even noticed what I'm wearing?
Clothes?
New clothes. New dress. And shoes.
But why?
I thought you'd like them.
I'm not sure they'd fit me.
Fit your hat and coat. We're going out for supper.
That's impossible. I've got this whole pile of papers to read tonight.
Can't that wait?
Bonnie Bernard has been going through the case of Billy Palmer with the fine tooth comb. It seems young Billy was one
I am not interested in your case, Rumpole.
I am not interested in your clothes, Hilda.
And what about me?
The question hung there for a moment. And then she who must turned on her high heels and clicked away towards the bedroom. Hilda didn't stir when I rose early the next morning. I crept out of the flat and made my way to the Old Bailey, where at 10:30 Christopher Peake, QC, announced that he was going to call Elizabeth Castorini as a witness for the prosecution.
Where should I go?
As she entered the witness box, Elizabeth looked as beautiful as ever.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall...
She smiled at her husband in the dock,
nothing but the truth.
and he smiled back, confident, I'm sure, that she was there to help him. But if that was her purpose, she disguised it very well.
Desmond was jealous, I think. Jealous of Tom and me, but for no reason at all.
Jealous of Tom and me.
And how did that make you feel?
Scared, of course. Desmond had that gun.
Desmond had that gun.
As Mr. Justice Oliphant wrote down every damning phrase, I prepared myself for a conversation with Elizabeth, not over a lunch table, but across a crowded courtroom. And my purpose wasn't to re-establish our friendship, or to move past that stage into something far less innocent, but to destroy her credibility. I spoke to her quietly at first, with tenderness. I thought it the best technique, and I found it extremely easy.
Mrs. Castorini, if I can take you back to your college days...
Please do, Mr. Rumpole.
A student was charged with theft in your final year, I believe.
David Alberman, that's right.
The other 3 members of Albumen's string quartet were also charged.
You know they were, don't you, Horace? I mean, Mr. Rumpole.
She gave me a secret smile, which I'm afraid I didn't return.
I may know all the details of the case, but the jury don't. Did you attend the trial of your fellow students?
I did. I was a friend of the viola player, Billy Palmer. You defended Billy, and you were brilliant.
I'm sure we can take that for granted.
Mr. Rumpole!
But I don't wish to talk about my own performance. I want to hear about one of the other defendants, a Tom Cogswell, who gave evidence against Albumen.
Tom Cogswell? I'm not sure I remember.
Oh, come now. Of course you do. Tom was the cellist in the string quartet. Albumen was the leader, playing on a violin lent to him by the college for a whole year. It was a violin made by Joseph Guarneri, worth about 3,000 guineas. But the violin that Albumen gave back to the college at the end of the year was a cheap imitation. Someone sold the Guarneri and replaced it with a fake.
I don't know where you're going with this, Mr. Rumpole.
If you keep your mouth shut and listen, you'll find out.
Was what I should have said?
It will all become clear very soon, my lord.
Was what I did say.
Albumen and the second violin player both went to prison, thanks to the evidence provided by the cellist, Tom Cogswell.
But Billy Palmer walked free. Thanks to you, Mr. Rumpole. You are just so brilliant.
Yes, you keep saying that, but having reminded myself of the details of the case, I find, in fact, I did virtually nothing.
Did virtually nothing?
Billy Palmer had no idea that Albumen had swapped his expensive Guarneri violin for a cheap imitation. Billy was a viola player, almost incapable of hearing whether his own instrument was in tune, let alone whether someone else's violin sounded as good as it used to. Billy Palmer walked free because the jury believed he knew nothing about the theft. Tom Cogswell walked free because he helped the prosecution. Did you know Tom Cogswell?
Not really.
Even when he changed his name to Randall, Tom Randall, and joined your trio as the cellist. The cellist who was recently shot dead by someone.
Could I have a glass of water?
In a minute, when I've finished. Your trio got very little work at first, am I right?
We had to make a name for ourselves.
3 paid concerts in the first year, 4 in the second, and yet you managed to rent an expensive rehearsal room, pay for food and clothing and petrol.
I'd been left some money.
Yes, by your Uncle Max.
It was so sad. He was such a lovely man. He died very young.
I don't think he did.
What on earth are you saying, Mr. Rumpole?
I'm saying there was no Uncle Max. I've checked Mrs. Castorini's family tree. Uncle Max did not exist.
Then where did I get my money?
You're really not supposed to ask me questions. However, on this occasion, I'll answer. I believe you got your money from the sale of a violin made by Joseph Guarneri. You were the mastermind behind the theft of that instrument. But David Albumen and the second violin player went to prison without grassing you up because, like so many men, they were both in love with you.
This is outrageous, my lord! Yes, I would prefer to concentrate on this case. Not something that was dealt with some years ago, Mr. Rumpole.
Even though the nature and the circumstances of that case are causally connected to this one, my lord?
What?
Tom Randall, the cellist from this crooked string quartet, knew all about Mrs. Castorini's involvement with the stolen violin, but he kept quiet. Why?
Are you asking me or the witness, Mr. Rumpole?
I am asking the witness if she paid Tom Randall £20 every month. It seems from this that someone did.
What have you got there?
These are Tom Randall's bank statements. He got a regular payment, £20 every month, from an anonymous source. Was that you? Was Tom Randall blackmailing you?
Blackmailing me? For what possible reason?
He was going to inform your husband that you stole the Guarneri violin from your college. Then repeat that allegation to the police. Unless you paid him even more every month.
No, that's nonsense.
I'm going to tell him, and there's only one way to stop me.
I'm much obliged, my lord.
It seemed that Mr. Justice Oliphant was starting to see things from my point of view. The jury, too, were no longer smiling at Elizabeth. And I I'm afraid that I was seeing her in quite a different light.
On the day that Tom Randall died, what exactly did you do?
I had a doctor's appointment at 10. I went to a lunchtime concert in Portland Place. I bought a dress, and I had a drink with our agent at 6.
But you popped back home before then. You wrote a note for your husband on the pad by the phone.
No.
Exhibit 9. A small piece of paper with a scribbled message. Tom rang, wants to meet you at 6 p.m.
No.
Did you telephone and arrange to meet Tom Randall at the rehearsal room at 5:30?
No, I didn't.
I think you did. And I think you went to the rehearsal room with your husband's gun.
No, I told you. I had a drink with our agent at 6 at the Warren Street Hotel.
Which is just around the corner from your rehearsal room. So you had plenty of time to shoot Tom, hide the gun somewhere the police would find it, then go out to the fire escape and down to the street.
No, please, stop.
Who had a motive for killing Tom Randall? Might it be someone who wanted to stop paying him blackmail money and also shut his mouth?
Not me. It wasn't.
My lord, Mr. Rumpole is putting a whole string of suppositions to this witness. He's accusing her of the very crime for which his client is on trial. How can these questions be relevant?
Because, my lord, if the jury thinks someone else might be guilty, my client can't be convicted. I'm fully entitled to put these suppositions to the witness. Or does your lordship want me to argue the matter in the Court of Appeal?
No, no. Let's use our common sense about this. No need to bother the Court of Appeal, is there? You go on at your own risk.
I shall indeed, my lord. Why did you come here as a witness?
The police asked me to attend.
But you knew you couldn't be compelled to give evidence against your husband. They must have told you that. So you came here of your own free will.
I wanted to tell you the truth.
Or you wanted to make sure your husband got convicted for a crime that you committed. You told your husband to brief a barrister you hoped wouldn't attack you. A barrister who'd give you an easy ride. A barrister who might actually fall in love with you. Like almost every other man you've ever met. Sorry to disappoint you.
Was what I thought, but did not say. My short, happy, but misguided friendship with Elizabeth Castorini was over. She left the witness box and the court, and I never saw her or spoke to her again. 3 days later, her husband also left the court, sad, confused, but acquitted. Not long after the jury's verdict, Detective Sergeant Straw interrupted Elizabeth's practice. So my life returned to normal, which meant yet another Chambers meeting. This one was to reach a final verdict on the matter of the propositioning of Dorothy Clapton. Erskine Brown was, unwisely I thought, conducting his own defence.
I heard Henry going on and on about her modestly hidden breasts and the swishing sound made by her stockings.
No doubt you did, but...
Rumpole, this is my inquiry.
Yes, but I have investigated the matter, so with your lordship's permission...
There's really...
Erskine Brown, have you ever heard of Miss Mildred Hannay?
Miss Mildred? No, I don't think so.
Have you forgotten that Henry is a thespian, a star of the Bexley Heath Players? Dot Clapton is also a native of Bexley Heath with a taste for the stage. That ghastly dialogue about stockings and breasts was not Henry's, but the product of the fevered brain of the aforementioned Miss Mildred Hannay, a local author who has written a play especially for the group. What you had the misfortune to hear, Erskine Brown, was a rehearsal. Any further questions?
I don't suppose you'd like a chop?
Actually, a chop would be most welcome, thank you.
A pork chop? Made with meat from a pig?
Yes, please.
You've given up on being a vegetarian.
The last vegetarian I met was a teetotaler and a murderer. Not sure which was worse.
No American fragrancy this evening.
Nor ever again.
What came over you, Rumpole, when you started to smell so exotic?
I met a lady in the meads
beautiful, beautiful fairy's child.
I suppose you're talking about Elizabeth Castorini.
La belle dame sans merci had us in her thrall.
Us?
Do you still have that dress? The new one?
Of course.
And the shoes?
Why?
I thought perhaps we should go out for supper. Not tonight, obviously, but later this week.
Would you like another chop, Rumpole?
Thank you, Hilda. You were never a fairy's child, were you? That's one thing to be said in your favour, old darling.
In Rumpole and the Eternal Triangle, by John Mortimer, the elder Horace Rumpole was played by me, Timothy West, and the younger Horace Rumpole was Benedict Cumberbatch. Hilda Rumpole was Cathy Sarah, Claude Erskine Brown, Nigel Anthony, Elizabeth Castorini, Faye Castello, and Desmond Castorini was Adrian Scarborough. Sam Ballard was Michael Cochrane, Bonnie Bernard, Matthew Morgan, Sir Oliver Oliphant, Geoffrey Whitehead, and Christopher Peake was Stephen Critchlow. Other parts were played by members of the company. Rumpole and the Eternal Triangle was adapted by Richard Stoneman, directed by Marilyn Imrie, and is a Catherine Bailey production for BBC Radio 4.
With me, Timothy West, as the elder Horace Rumpole, and Benedict Cumberbatch as the younger Horace Rumpole. I never write these memoirs at home, for fear that she who must be obeyed, my wife Hilda, should glance over my shoulder and take exception to the manner in which I describe domestic life chez Rumpole. Sitting, therefore, in chambers, on a quiet Sunday morning, I was distracted by the distant church bell calling the faithful to prayer. The sound brought to mind my defence in 1959 of a South London cleric on a shoplifting rap. It also reminded me of my childhood, of my father, the Reverend Wilfrid Rumpole, a Church of England clergyman who, in early middle age, came reluctantly to the conclusion that God did not exist. A slight disadvantage for a vicar in Croydon. But my father stuck with his chosen profession, scraped and saved to get me through a minor public school on the Norfolk coast, and then Keble College, Oxford, where I achieved a dubious third in law. My father's example, and the theological students I met at Keble, gave me an early mistrust of clergymen. So it was perhaps unfortunate that I was handed the brief for the case I now call Rumpole and the Man of God.
To him, "You're too short to be a soldier, let alone a Coldstream Guard." But then he promised to show me his medals. Well, I sort of... I'm so sorry, madam. Ready to pay? That'll be 2 guineas, please. Now, where on earth is he going? Would you excuse me for a moment, madam?
Oh.
Miss Fawcett?
Yes, Mr. Pratt.
Can you deal with this customer, please?
Yes.
Sir? Just a moment, sir. I don't believe you've paid for those items. I'm sorry. You will be sorry. Oh, you're a man of the cloth, I see. That's really no excuse. Excuse for what? You can't just walk out without paying for your purchases. Not that you can call them purchases if you haven't actually purchased them, if you see what I mean.
I don't see what you mean. I'm not really sure what you're trying to say.
I'm accusing you of theft, Vicar.
Oh, no.
You don't accept you're trying to steal from the store?
I accept nothing. And I'd like to find my sister.
Your sister? As in some kind of nun?
No, my sister, as in my sister. Evelyn and I were shopping together. She can't have gone very far. Evelyn! Evelyn!
Oh, no, you don't. You stay where you are.
I can assure you I'm not trying to run away.
Good, because I'm calling the police. They know how to deal with your sort.
My sort?
Thieves. That's all you are. A common thief. Dog collar or no dog collar?
No. Where can she be? Evelyn?
Evelyn, she was here a moment ago.
The alleged thief, dog collar or no dog collar, was a cleric by the somewhat Arthurian name of the Reverend Mordred Skinner. And his swag was a basket containing 6 of the finest cotton shirts.
No, they can't take that away from me.
Morning, Rumpole.
Erskine Brown.
Did you know there's a priest in your room? I saw one going in as I was leaving chambers.
A priest? Are you sure?
Henry said it was your first con of the day. I asked Henry if he meant conversion. Has Rumpole seen the light? Is number 3 Equity Court his road to Damascus? That's what I said to Henry.
Did Henry find it amusing?
Actually, no.
Say what you like about Claude Erskine Brown, and I frequently did. At least he tried to be funny. Unlike dear old George Frobisher.
A vicar in trouble can mean only one thing, Rumpole. Choir boys.
Actually, George, it's...
I always think the church would be far safer with a lot of middle-aged lady sopranos.
No. According to this brief, the vicar's merely accused of stealing half a dozen shirts.
For choir boys?
For himself.
Oh, pity. You haven't forgotten about tonight, Rumpole?
You, me, Pomeroy's, and a bottle of Chateau Thames Embankment?
No, I'm bringing a friend to dinner. With you and Hilda.
Oh.
It seemed unlikely that anyone would wish to spend an evening with she who must be obeyed, unless they were tied to her by bonds of matrimony, or very thick rope. But it seemed that George had invited himself some weeks before, and was looking forward to the occasion.
No Pomeroy's, then?
We'll bring a bottle of fizz. I have some rather good news.
George, we haven't taken to using brilliantine by any chance?
We'll be there for 7:30, Rumpole.
George smiled in a sheepish sort of fashion, and went off whistling a tune that someone might have mistaken for the Tennessee Waltz, if that someone happened to be tone deaf. I tried to rid my mind of the melody as I made myself comfortable in chambers. I read the brief again, digested the details again, and prepared to meet my new client. Some of my older, more regular clients were far from puritanical, and were always found to be guilty, but this one, on paper at least, appeared to be clean, if you choose to believe that cleanliness is next to godliness.
So, Vicar, should I call you Vicar?
I haven't been defrocked just yet.
I meant, would you prefer to be called by your Christian name?
I think Reverend Skinner would be more appropriate. Do sit up straight, Mordred. You'll get your tummy aches again.
Yes, I'm sorry, Evelyn.
His sister, Evelyn Skinner, was a brisk woman in sensible shoes.
Very well, then, Mr. Reverend Skinner. Let me establish some facts. When you left the department store, you had 6 cotton shirts in your shopping basket. No doubt you'd taken those shirts to a cash desk first, meaning to pay for them?
There were 2 assistants, a young man and a woman, behind the counter in menswear, ready to take money from the customers. There was no need for me to take the shirts anywhere else.
Oh, I don't suppose you realize that. I expect you wandered off looking for a cash desk, and then your mind filled with next week's sermon, or whose turn it was to do the flowers in the chancel, and the whole mundane business of shopping simply went out of your head.
It is true that I was thinking a great deal at the time of the problem of evil.
I couldn't see how the problem of evil was going to help us at the Inner London sessions.
You see, Mr. Rumpole, what puzzles the ordinary fellow is, if God is all-wise and perfectly good, why on earth did he put evil in this world?
So that an ordinary fellow like me can get plenty of briefs down the Old Bailey.
This may seem a trivial case to you, Mr. Rumpole, but it's life and death to Mordred.
A man's reputation is never trivial.
and I take it extremely seriously. Reverend Skinner, one vital question. Given the fact that there were 6 shirts in the shopping basket you were carrying, how on earth did they get there?
Are you suggesting, Mr. Rumpole, that my brother is guilty?
Your brother is innocent, Miss Skinner, and will remain so until 12 commonsensical old darlings picked out at random off the Newington Causeway find him otherwise.
You think we might win this case with a jury?
Juries are like Almighty God. They move in mysterious ways, their wonders to perform.
Well, if that's the best answer we can get from Mr. Rumpole, I think perhaps we should head off home.
Oh, really? But I still have a number of questions to ask.
Now, Mordred, we mustn't be late for your lunch with the Wandsworth widows.
Oh.
And best if you pop into the lavatory before we get back on the train.
Yes, Evelyn.
You don't want to use the facilities at Victoria.
No, Evelyn.
3 bags full, Evelyn.
I thought the conference was at an end, and not before time. There'd been something about this man of God and his lady of divine intervention that I found strangely disturbing. It wasn't just his holier-than-thou outlook, but also her who the hell do you think you are attitude that made me wonder if we had a hope in hell. But before I could enjoy a moment of quiet contemplation, Miss Evelyn Skinner came back into my room alone.
I'm not sure you quite understand my brother, Mr. Rumpole. He's like a child in many ways.
Ah. The Peter Pan of the pulpit?
In a sense, yes. I'm 2 years older. I've always had to look after him. If I hadn't been there to deal with the parish council, made sure he said the right things to the bishop...
You should have kept a better eye on him in that shop.
Of course I should. I blame myself entirely.
And then she was gone, hair, shirt and all, flagellating herself for allowing her poor brother to get into trouble with the law. But why did she feel so responsible for the actions of a man who presumably had enough sense to foresee the outcome of his criminal activity? Was her empathy mere sympathy, or something else? I seem to remember a hymn came to mind.
Tears for all woes, a heart for every plea. Come, friend of sinners, thus abide with me.
I sang all the way home.
Thou on my head in early youth did smile, and the rebellious and perverse meanwhile.
Even as I called in at the butcher's shop to purchase 2 pounds of stewing steak for dinner with George Frobisher and friend.
On to the close, O Lord, abide with me. The friend was a lady, or as I think Hilda preferred to call her, a woman. Mrs. Ida Tempest, as George introduced her, came with some species of furry animal wreathed about her neck, whose eyes regarded me with a glassy stare. The lady's own eyes were far from glassy, being twinkling and roguish in their expression. Mrs. Tempest had reddish hair piled on her head. It was rather the colour of falsely glowing artificial coals on an electric fire. She had what I believe is known as a Cupid's bow mouth in the trade, and the sort of complexion which makes you think that if you caught its owner a brisk slap, you would choke in the resulting cloud of white powder. Her skirt seemed too tight, and her heels too high for total comfort. But it could not be denied that Mrs. Ida Tempest was a cheerful and pleasant-looking person.
I do love bubbly the way it goes all tickly up the nose. Don't you love it too, Hilda?
We hardly ever get bubbly, so I can't really comment.
She who must be obeyed was not hitting it off with Mrs. Ida Tempest, and I was distracted by Ida's strangely familiar presence. Had I met her before, this woman soon to become Mrs. George Frobisher?
So, engaged to be married, eh, George?
We wanted you to be the first to know.
Well, then, if we're all filled up, I suppose it falls to me, accustomed as I am to public speaking.
Usually on behalf of the criminal classes.
Thank you, Hilda, but I do think I know what's expected on these occasions.
You mean you're like the film star's fifth husband? You know what's expected of you, but you don't know how to make it new?
Yes, well, here's to the happy couple.
Yes, here's to us, George.
Yes, to us.
Would you care for a little more suet pudding, Mrs. Tempest?
Oh, please call me Ida. Just a teeny-weeny scraping. I don't want to lose my sylph-like figure, do I, Georgie? Otherwise you might not fancy me anymore.
There's no danger of that.
With you not fancying me.
No, you're losing your figure. She's as slim as a bluebell, isn't she, Rumpole?
That rather depends on the size of the bluebell.
Oh, Horace, you are terrible. Why have you been keeping this naughty man away from me, George?
Let me top you up, Ida.
Oh, lovely glasses. So tasteful.
Actually, they're rejects from the Army and Navy stores.
Oh.
So, Ida, what whim of Providence was it that led you across the path of my old friend George?
Well, Horace, it all began...
Mrs. Tempest recently joined the staff at the Royal Borough Hotel as front-of-house manageress.
Oh, receptionist. Oh, no, Hilda. Front-of-house manageress.
You're still staying at the Royal Borough Hotel, George?
Just Monday to Friday. I spend my weekends in Dorset at my parents' house in Swanage. Dead now.
Swanage?
My parents.
Anyway, you noticed me on my first day in the Royal Borough. Didn't you, dear?
I must admit I did.
And I noticed him noticing me. You know how it is with men, don't you, Hilda?
Sometimes I wonder if Rumpole ever notices me.
Of course I notice you. I come home in the evenings, and there you are.
Would you like to powder your nose?
You mean, do I want to spend a penny?
Oh, dear.
It was always obvious, to me if to no one else, when she who must had taken again somebody. And Mrs. Ida Tempest was now so firmly in the dock, as far as Hilda was concerned, that not even counsel with a track record such as mine could hope to bring in a verdict of not guilty before coffee was served. I realized the case was indefensible and left the accused to be judged, convicted, and sentenced by her peers.
Oh, Hilda, let me help you with those plates.
Did you wash your hands?
Of course I did.
Well, then I suppose you could try.
Did you know we've got cups?
What?
Me and George. We go ballroom dancing together.
You and George?
Oh, didn't Horace tell you?
I'm quite sure Rumpole knows nothing about this. George, a secret ballroom dancer.
We had lessons at Miss Mackay's École de Danse in Rutland Gate. Do you know the place?
Of course I don't.
Well, Horace never takes you there.
Horace never takes me anywhere.
Shame. I reckon you'd enjoy it. Especially the tango. Oh, you ever done that with Horace?
I'm sure I'd have remembered if I had.
Can I give you a little tip?
You may, if you must.
Always rinse your glasses with hot water. Never dry them if they're still a bit soapy.
Why ever not?
Smears. Hold one up to the light. See?
Looks fine to me.
No one likes drinking out of a dirty glass.
I've had no complaints from Rumpole.
Seems like a lovely man, your Rumpole. Does he do all his work in London?
What do you mean?
I mean, does he ever do cases a bit further away? Surrey, Sussex, Kent, perhaps?
He's at the Bailey most of the time, but Rumpole takes whatever his clerks can find for him, and he drinks out of whatever glass I hand to him, smeary or not.
Oh, then think yourself lucky. I could tell you stories about some of my customers.
You had customers. What exactly were you selling?
Oh, it was a long time ago. I wouldn't want to bore you.
Wouldn't you? How very thoughtful.
George and I had been left alone with a bottle of old tawny, but I was feeling too uneasy to enjoy my port. Having studied La Belle Tempest throughout the evening, I was now certain that we'd met before. I was also aware that the vast majority of my social contacts were made in cells, courtrooms, and other places of ill repute. I therefore phrased my next question with some caution.
You're Mrs. Tempest. Do you know very much about her? About her past?
The past? Well, I know she used to run a small hotel with her first husband, somewhere in Kent. The word hotel rang a distant bell. The location Kent brought that bell a little closer. When we're married, she might take up a small hotel again, in the West Country, perhaps.
And what about you, George?
Well, I don't want to boast, but I thought I might go for a circuit judgeship. In fact, I have applied.
You, a judge? A judge?
But then I considered the proposition for a moment.
Well, actually, I suppose it might suit. You were never much good in court, were you, old darling?
Was what I thought, but didn't say. Instead, I came back with...
It wasn't in Ramsgate, by any chance.
Where I've applied to be a judge.
Where your fiancé kept a small hotel.
Why'd you ask?
Don't do it, George.
Don't be a judge.
Don't get married, George. Your Honour. If your lordship pleases. I mean, where would you be leaving me? Of what would you be depriving me?
Oh, Rumpole.
Those peaceful moments of the day, those hours we spend with a bottle of Chateau Thames Embankment and Pomeroy's wine bar. That wonderful oasis of peace that lies between the battle of the Bailey and the horrors of home life. They'll be denied me. You'll be bolting like a rabbit down the Temple Underground back to Mrs. Tempest and leaving me without a companion.
Ridiculous.
Don't do it, George. Marriage is like pleading guilty for an indefinite sentence without parole.
My words of wisdom were ignored, not for the first or last time. George Frobisher, like so many members of my juries, had already made up his mind before listening to the evidence.
Are you coming to bed, Rumpole? Or do you intend to sleep underneath it tonight?
Just looking for something.
Of course, that woman won't do for George.
Oh, you think not? Why exactly?
Remarking on our glasses. Such bad form. I thought she was going to ask how much they'd cost. And then she went on and on about dancing. About tangos. What on earth are you doing down there, Rumpole?
I'm trying to find... Aha! Here it is.
Oh!
My first scrapbook.
You're getting dust all over the quilt.
I'm sure there's a cutting from the Folkestone Argus. Dover Reporter, some paper in Kent. The story about the case of...
It's time for bed, Rumpole. Your journey down memory lane can wait till tomorrow.
But it couldn't wait. And sitting at the kitchen table that night, I found a clipping from the Ramsgate Times. Couple charged in local arson case. The unexplained destruction of the Saracen's Head Hotel. There was a picture of a building on the seafront and a number of people standing round. I examined the figures in the photograph and saw the younger but still roguishly smiling face of Mrs. Ida Tempest.
Jack! No, I was next. Oh, for a beaker full of the warm south. Full of the true, the blushful hippocrene, with beaded bubbles winking at the brim, and purple-stained mouth that I might drink and leave the world unseen, and with thee fade away into the forest dim. Please, can I get some wine over here?
Evening, Rumpole. All by yourself?
No, looking for George Frobisher. I missed him in chambers.
Forget Frobisher. Why not join me tonight? I have a spare ticket.
For what?
The Festival Hall. I've been hoping to take that new girl in the clerk's room, but apparently her father was taken ill quite suddenly this afternoon. She simply had to get home to administer a poultice.
A poultice? Doesn't sound like an emergency to me.
Oh, but she insisted it was. An abscess or a boil, a pustule of some kind requiring immediate treatment. So, what do you say to Verdi's Requiem with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra? Tempted?
Tempted doesn't come close to describing my state of mind. But I have to go. George! Hello. George, what on earth are you doing?
Buying a bottle of wine.
What's wrong with Chateau Thames Embankment?
Mrs. Tempest, that is, Ida, she prefers a Pichon Longueville.
And you've gone for the 47?
We'll enjoy it later tonight as we listen to the BBC Overseas Service. Victor Sylvester requested from Nigeria. They only seem to care for ballroom dancing in Africa nowadays.
Will you have a drink before you go?
Oh, it would never do to keep Ida waiting.
And he was gone, leaving me to down a glass of plonk by myself, wishing I'd told George what I knew about Mrs. Tempest, that is, Ida, and fearing I'd never get round to breaking the news. I had other news to break, worse news, I thought, to the unfortunate Reverend Skinner. But in his case, I managed to gird my loins, take a deep breath, and warn the poor vicar that the judge at his trial was to be none other than Mr. Justice Vosper, a pale and sarcastic judge who made no attempt to disguise the fact that he was Welsh.
Now that Mr. Rumpole has deigned to join us this morning, having enjoyed an egg for breakfast, I see.
Oh, right.
Perhaps we can make a start.
A couple of hours later, in court number 3 of the Inner London Sessions, Mr. Justice Vosper kindly allowed me to cross-examine a floor walker by the name of Pratt.
On the day in question, you were serving in the gentleman's clothing department?
I wasn't serving, I was supervising that department.
Did your supervisory duties include surveillance of every customer?
I saw that man over there walking out of the store with 6 shirts in his shopping basket.
But did you see my client remove those shirts from the shelf?
If he had, I'm pretty sure he'd have told us about it, Mr. Rumpole.
I'm much obliged, Your Honour. Always so admirably quick to notice points in favour of the defence. It would have been quite impossible for the Reverend Skinner to have paid at your counter, wouldn't it?
I don't know what you mean.
I think it's a mystery to us all.
You were huddled together with a colleague, a female colleague. Blind and deaf to the cries of shirt-buying clerics, were you not?
I suppose I might have been talking to a member of staff. In my supervisory capacity, of course.
Of course. But is it so surprising that my client took his purchase and went off in search of more attentive assistance?
He left the building.
He was looking for an entrance to another department. One where they might be willing to accept his money.
He didn't try to re-enter the store.
He didn't have a chance before you called the police. You made him stand where he was in Sloane Square until the coppers arrived. I must say it's a risky business entering your shop, Mr. Pratt. You can't get served and no one speaks to you except to tell you you're under arrest.
Really?
With members of the jury smiling at me, I felt things were looking up.
2:10, members of the jury. If that suits the luncheon requirements of Mr. Rumpole.
I'm much obliged, Your Honour.
But then, in a quiet corner of the pub, things started to look down.
I can't take the oath.
What's the matter, Vicar? Don't you believe in God?
Oh, simple faith is far more important than the constant scramble after unimportant facts. I believe that's what the lives of the saints tell us.
Well, my simple faith tells me that your sister had been holding the basket in the men's department. When you left the store, you'd taken the basket from your sister.
Perhaps.
She took the shirts from the shelf and put them in the basket when you were too busy composing your sermon on the problem of evil to notice.
The Reverend Mordred Skinner nursed his orange juice as I finished my pork pie.
She was a pretty child, always attracted to pretty things. Things she thought I might like. Boiled sweets, red apples, jewellery. And as she grew older, it became worse. Spectacles, handbags, cigarette cases.
On the day in question...
I tried to watch her, but you were right. I was thinking about my sermon. As a matter of fact, I had no need of those shirts. I always wear a dog collar.
Well, now we have some kind of defense.
That's what I would have to say if I took the oath.
You were happy to lie before, to me.
Mr. Rumpole, I have the greatest respect for your skill as an advocate, but I have never been in danger of mistaking you for Almighty God.
If you tell the truth, she'll only get a fine.
She wouldn't be able to bear it.
But if you say it was you, that's your whole life gone.
It's the least I can do for my sister.
Oh, good God, man. Sometimes I don't know how I keep my temper.
I am sorry, really. But you do understand. I am unable to give evidence to a jury under oath.
It's very difficult to get a client off, unless he's prepared to go into the witness box and demonstrate to the jury he's a fairly likeable character who might buy you a pint after work. I knew that if the Reverend told his story with suitable modesty and regret, he'd be found not guilty and his sister would merely get a well-earned talking to. When he refused to give evidence, I could almost hear in the distance the rustle of unfrocking.
Members of the jury, there is a golden thread that runs throughout British justice. The prosecution must prove its case. The defence has to prove nothing.
Mr. Rumpole!
The Reverend Mordred Skinner need not trouble to move 4 yards from that dock to the witness box unless the prosecution has produced evidence that he intended to steal.
Mr. Rumpole!
Never let it be said that a man is forced to prove his innocence. Our fathers have defied kings for that principle. They forced King John to sign Magna Carta and sent King Charles to the scaffold. And it has been handed down even to the Inner London Sessions here in Newington Causeway.
Mr. Rumpole!
Oh, God.
I agree entirely with everything you say. I shall direct the jury accordingly.
Oh, I say.
Resisting the urge to praise the Lord for his benevolence, I met my freshly liberated client in the Gents, a place where his sister was unable to follow.
I was quite reconciled to losing. I don't think my sister would have stood by me. I would have been alone.
You would have been unfrocked.
Yes.
And is that what you really wanted?
Well, it might have been restful to be exactly the same as everybody else.
I looked at him standing there in the London Sessions lavatory, his thin neck half strangled by a dog collar. He longed for the relaxed life of an ordinary sinner, like me, but he had no right to it. Instead, he'd chosen the high road, or the low road, a different road anyway.
Goodbye, Mr. Rumpole. I'd shake you by the hand, but...
But your hand's rather wet, yes, I see that.
It was entirely a family matter. There was no need for anyone else to know anything about it.
And so he went, in his sister's charge, back to the living hell of his rectory. And I went back to my own living hell.
Is that you, Rumpole?
I think so. But let me find a mirror so I can be absolutely sure.
If you're heading for the bathroom, make sure you check the bin.
for any discarded correspondence.
I'm not quite sure what you mean.
I was clearing out the rubbish this afternoon when I came across this.
Ah.
An invitation card. Gilded, embossed, ripped in two.
I imagine you're hoping for an explanation.
An explanation? As to why I'm not allowed to go to the Savoy Hotel on the 18th of next month? Yes, please.
You wouldn't enjoy it.
The Scales of Justice Ball?
Oiled shirts, warm champagne, dancing.
I want to dance.
With me?
With anyone. You never take me out, Rumpole. You never... Oh. You never... Oh.
Is everything all right? Is it something I've said? Well, now, I've had quite a day. I decided not to tell George Frobisher about the criminal past of his fiancée. If the case of the Reverend Mordred Skinner has taught me anything, is that we shouldn't drop bombs of information which might cause ruin and havoc. Are you quite sure there's nothing wrong? Jolly good.
It's a well-known fact, Rumpole, that the finest advocates never make the best judges. Which is why you really ought to be a judge.
If that's what you think, Erskine-Brown, seems to me you're also suggesting George Frobisher was a pretty poor barrister.
It was a terrible... Hello, George. We were just, not talking about you. Merely discussing the qualities of the ideal circuit judge.
Circus judge, as I like to call them.
Detached, patient, courteous...
Bugger off, Claude.
Will do, yes. Need a refill, anyway.
Can we get you a drink, George? We should raise a glass to His Honour, Judge George Frobisher. And to Mrs. Ida Tempest, of course.
No.
No? But she should be here to share in your triumph. Or she'll be celebrating at the Royal Borough Hotel, where she had the Moet on ice by the time you get back.
Mrs. Tempest left the Royal Borough last week. I have no means of knowing where to find her.
George. I'm so sorry.
It was your fault, Rumpole.
My fault? But I said nothing.
You didn't have to. When I brought Mrs. Tempest to dinner with you and Hilda, she recognized you at once.
She didn't show it.
She's a remarkable woman. Was a remarkable woman.
I was junior counsel for her former husband. I'm sure he led her on. She made an excellent impression in the witness box.
She made an excellent impression on me, Rumpole. She thought you'd be bound to tell me, so she decided to tell me first.
Well, I seem to remember Mrs. Tempest got 3 years, but her husband got 7.
Is that supposed to cheer me up?
I suspected at the time that it didn't.
I don't believe Ida actually applied the match to the paraffin.
Even so, it doesn't do for a judge's wife to have done 3 years in
Chokey. Well, never mind, George. There'll be plenty of other ladies, other front-of-house manageresses at the Royal Borough Hotel.
I very much doubt it. Every night when I sit at my table, alone, I shall think if only I'd never taken her to dinner at Rumpole's.
That's a little unfair, George, but...
Sometimes I feel it will be difficult to forgive you.
George, what did I do? I didn't say a word. Oh, Lord.
It seemed my mere existence had been enough to deny George his happiness. A person's mere existence can do that sometimes. Certainly my very appearance over the threshold of Froxbury Mansions could sometimes suck the joy from she who must be obeyed in an instant. Assuming she'd had any kind of joy prior to my arrival.
Is that you, Rumpole?
I'm afraid so.
Were you drinking with George Frobisher?
I may have raised a glass or two.
Or 3 or 4. And I suppose that woman was there?
Mrs. Tempest? No, she's gone.
Gone? Well, George is a very lucky man, if he wants my opinion.
I'd be surprised if he does.
Oh, so my opinion counts for nothing. Thank you, Rumpole. Thank you very much.
Are you crying again?
No.
Now, forgive me, but I do have some experience in cross-examination. I put it to you that you are crying, and I would like to know why. Didn't quite catch that.
Because I'm pregnant.
Pregnant?
As I've said before, the case of Mordred Skinner taught me that we should never drop bombs of information which might cause ruin and havoc.
Well, Hilda, that is extraordinary news.
She who must had certainly dropped a bomb.
Shouldn't you be sitting down?
Whether it would cause ruin and havoc remained to be seen.
I don't want to sit down.
Well, what do you want to do? Hilda? Better up than in, I suppose.
The young Rumpole was always willing to make a romantic gesture when the situation required it. At the Scales of Justice ball in the Savoy, wearing a boiled shirt, I gently swung from side to side and smiled as best I could, whilst full of warm champagne. The idea of becoming a father still seemed as unlikely as my becoming a circus judge. I tried to picture myself with a small child, in the same room, with the infant making an awful lot of noise, and me unable to make it stop. She who must be obeyed. Rumpole and the Penge Bungalow Murders by John Mortimer.